Hey, what's going on everyone? It's LOZA. I'm here today with my stream chat, and we're going to be doing a Dark Magician tier list for the cards, all the new ones as well, because hey, new cards came out and they're pretty good. Now this is of course not a scripted video, so I'm going to be rambling a lot. Make sure you don't skip any though, or you're going to be very confused if you skip to the end of the tier list. Don't be one of those guys, just watch the whole thing. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, sub to support me. That's all you got to do. And away we go. Dark Magician off the bat. We got to put our boy up in the S tier. Last tier list, I think I put him in D. I'm just going to be real, we wouldn't play the deck if he didn't exist, so for that reason alone, he's going in S tier. If we're being realistic, he probably sits around D, because the other bricks sit around E most of the time, but we're going to be silly and put him in S. DM S tier, let's go. DMG's going in the E tier. Yep. Now, we do have to play Dark Magician, but we don't have to play the girl. We do not have to play the girl. And there's a lot of engines that we play now, like Priamite and Diabell, and Shining Sark. And yes, they're moving away from these cards, but I think ultimately our identity stands with this man and not so much her. All the cards that force you to play the girl are just more bricks, and she's a brick herself. I think if Circle added her, and you know, there was more synergy with her in the archetype, I think it'd be fine. But she just has this weird anti-synergy with a lot of our cards, and I'm gonna put her in S tier, in E tier, sorry, with DM and S tier, which I know makes no sense, but it'll make sense later. This is the first real S tier card, right? This is here because, hey, we're playing DM. Here is the real S tier, Dragoon. I mean, did I have to say it? Here it be. There he is. He's there for a reason. Pops 2, he negates, he swings for game, he gains 1,000 attack, and he keeps you warm. Dragoon is the GOAT. Long story short, Dragoon is the GOAT. I don't think I need to talk about him anymore. We're going to talk about the rise and fall of this card. What's this card called? Magic Formula. Magic Formula has seen a fall from grace. A massive fall from grace. I think in my last tier list it was S or A, because this card could win games alone because of the time rules. The time rules are now gone. Well, more so they've been reworked into both players get a double game loss if they didn't proceed to or finish the game in the allocated time. So this card goes all the way to F tier unplayable. So much like a lot of the cards that are going to go on this list in F tier, Secret Formula is going to join them, unfortunately. It was one of the better DM cards for that reason alone. And we're going to get to our controversial boy here, the new Dark Magician of Destruction. This is going to be a very, very hard one to put on the tier list. I'm thinking S or high A, because I think we got to give him S. Like, obviously this card should probably be here. I think this card is genuinely an S. But when you look at it next to Dragoon, it doesn't feel like an S, which makes me want to put it in A. But I do believe it serves a different purpose to Dragoon, but is in S, right? This card, Dark Magician of Destruction, is not actually about destroying anything, it's about searching. And it's more generic than Rod because it searches anything. And it's better than Soul Servant because Soul Servant needs a brick somewhere. So I do want to say this card, while it has downsides that make me want to put it in A, like it not being able to be summoned from the grave and it banishing the material, these things that could have really been worked around quite easily with some great wording from Konami. Unfortunately, I think it should probably be here, but I'm gonna put it in S because of how much it has made the deck fun to play again, and how much the deck actually good now again. Like, playing DM used to feel like a joke when you went to locals. Like, even though it's a fun and meme deck, you just couldn't take it at locals, right? You just felt bad. I think he's got to be S because he's brought the deck back to life, and there's some other cards that help with that as well. But let's get into my next favorite card now. Soul Servant is insane, but it's also bad, so it's going in A. You could maybe make an argument it should go in B because it's still not a one-card starter. And I think that's what's keeping, like, any DM spell out of S. No DM spell will be in S because the DM spells are all still terrible in a way. So, Soul Servant. The reason why it sits here in the A tier is because, well, it doesn't do anything on its own, which might seem wild for a card in the A tier, but that we got to look at the archetype in a vacuum, and compared to the other spells, it's A. It's A because it's very good with the new support. Dark Magician of Destruction identifies as DM on the field engrave, which means any card that can get you to DM of Destruction, so that's like your Diabells, that's your Shining Sark package, I mean, they're already DM and DMG, and the Priamite stuff, like, all these engines that people might like, might not like, it doesn't matter, because ultimately, any spellcaster 6 or higher can now become Dark Magician. That's Apprentice Illusion Magician, that's a lot of the guys here can now become Dark Magician of Destruction and be a named Dark Magician on the field. So I would say Soul Servant now, especially now that the controversial Shining Sark cards are becoming more played in generic Dark Magician. I would say Soul Servant's been, you know, never better. There's some engines on here that aren't here, like Diabell and Priamite, which also can get to Dark Magician or this very quick, which makes Soul Servant is just always live, I feel, right? Soul Servant is always live. Worst case, you open 4 hand traps Soul Servant, you set the Soul Servant to stack for your draw next turn, and you hope the hand traps keep you afloat. Maybe they don't, but, you know, while that sounds horrible, it's honestly not the worst compared to maybe some other decks, maybe. My favorite, Dark Flare Knight. I love Dark Flare Knight, but he's trash. Best artwork in the game, though. I was really hyped for a retrain of this, and they sadly gave it to the Red Eyes Flame Swordsman deck, so we're never going to talk about this card again. Dark Sage, similar boat, but we could still get a retrain of it, maybe as a link or a fusion or something. But right here we have Dark Sage and Dark Flare Knight, some of my favorite Dark Magician transformations, or fusions if you will. I mean, they're more like a transformation, let's call them that. Dark Eradicator, Warlock, actually this should not be down here. Eradicator, Warlock fits a niche. It's probably in the E tier where it's like super awkward to use, right? I think this is where the E tier will be. Like the cards that are awkward to use, like technically you can run them. They're not like this level. Like these cards are unplayable in F tier. Like if you play them, you are trolling. You're wasting deck space or extra deck space. In here, you're like, okay, like you can lean into a burn strategy, even though it's bad, but it's funny. Anyway, yeah, Warlock FTK is a very funny meme deck, so that's why it's in E. It's not unplayable, but it is a meme. Let's talk about a very controversial card. This, I think we have to put in S tier. If you haven't seen the combos you can do to get to this card now, I think this card is either very high A or it's S. While technically it's not really a Dark Magician card because you can't search it with Rod, or Soul Servant I should say, or Dark Magician of Destruction because guess what? Magician of Black Chaos Max doesn't list Dark Magician in its text, even though it's clearly Magician of Black Chaos, who is also, you know, Dark Magician of Chaos. Dark Magician of Black Chaos or Magician of Black Chaos is an evolution of Dark Magician. That's confirmed in a lot of the games and by the show and manga. Like, it's pretty much his evolution. So this is an evolution of that, and we all know Dark Magician Destruction is obviously another reference to Dark Magician of Chaos or Magician of Black Chaos. So Magician of Black Chaos Max, lore-wise, should be a DM card, but isn't. Chaos Max can just end your opponent's turn, and that's silly. I know the card's not a Master Duel, we're going to ignore that, but the fact that it can end your opponent's whole turn, I think makes us have to put it in S tier. And I'm sure Ritual DM fans, Dodo, may agree. Yeah, it's S tier when it resolves. So I guess it's kind of a S tier when it resolves, otherwise it's useless. But I think the fact that there's a DM card, even though it's technically not searchable, it's just kind of insane because it can end a whole turn. And it's like, look at the artwork and tell me it's not a DM card, you know what I'm saying? The way that you get to it with the new support is Magician Souls sends it to the grave and you can add it back with Miasma. I think that's how we get it. I'm pretty sure that's how we get it, thanks to Miasma. But anyway, Chaos Max is just crazy. But yeah, Konami not letting it mention Dark Magician is silly. I don't know what they were scared of. They think Dark Magician is going to be too good. Like, no, they're silly. Illusion of Chaos, going all the way up in the A tier here next to Soul Servant. Probably in front of Soul Servant because it's actually useful by itself. Great ritual card, but more so less ritual and more a Rota. A Rota for the deck that's a ritual monster. Super weird. I always thought we'd get Rota as a spell, and I've done videos and like an analysis on would Illusion of Chaos have been better as a spell, and I think the conclusion is yes, that's okay. And we'll get more into why it should have been a spell later with Dark Magic Inheritance. So wait until we get to that. Illusion of Chaos is a good card, don't get me wrong. Great card. Fix some problems for the deck, absolutely. But the fact that it's slotted in better to some other decks caused some issues, and just ultimately can't add Dark Magician rituals? Like, huh? Did you guys know that? Illusion of Chaos cannot add the next card we're looking at, which is Magician of Chaos. I forget this guy's name, but they're all got similar names. I think this card should be like A or B tier as well. I'm gonna put it in B because it's a little bit awkward to summon, but I mean, by that extension, this should probably come down to here. Which might be right. We might leave it there for now, but if we change our mind later, we'll bring it down. Magician of Chaos is a good card, great card. It becomes the DM vanilla while in the grave, so you can keep summoning it with Eternal Soul, which is great, because we can't do that with Dark Magician Destruction. So that is really, really cool. The dilemma about it is you can't search it off Illusion of Chaos for one, which is like, what? Why did they make Ritual DM card not able to search the other Ritual DM card? It truly boggles the mind of a DM player. If anyone has a reason, please let me know in the chat. I just can't think of why Illusion of Chaos can't add Magician of Chaos. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, the card on the field pops something when a spell trap is activated, and it can pop itself, and then it can float then, because it summons a ritual from hand ignoring summoning conditions, I'm pretty sure. It can float into Illusion of Chaos or Chaos Max as well, which is awesome. So, it's cool. It's cool. It's just there's like some weird anti-synergy once again, because Illusion of Chaos can't add it, and blah blah blah. I don't know, Konami really hates our deck, long story short. Mahad. He's going down here in the DMG and Eradicator zone, where, like, you can play it, but it's, like, yeah, an E-tier strategy, right? You're hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself. And that's what this tier will be. Stuff that's technically viable, but you should probably not do it. And yeah, Mahad, kind of like DMG, he has even less synergy. Like, DMG, you can only secrets with her. Mahad, you can't. If you open Mahad in that opening hand, he does nothing. I love Mahad, but he does nothing. He just kind of smells. Yes, people are like, oh, I had a one game where I summoned him off the top of my deck with Soul Servant, and I beat into my opponent's Dark Monster, and he went up to 5k, it was cool. Yeah, that's kind of his whole gig. He's just an anime cool thing. But he's not actually very good. Kind of just the new Mirage Knight, which I don't think I put Mirage Knight in this tier list, which is funny because I put Dark Flare Knight, but oh well. Mahad. Oh, sorry. Mahad, you're staying there. Mana. Mana's got to be at least D. She could even be C. Mana is unironically one of the best bricks that Magician Souls can send, because then when you go to Magician Souls send and draw, if your opponent hits you with Imperm Veiler, you can summon her. Or if your Magician's Rod and they Imperm Veiler, you can summon her from hand or grave. Unironically, one of the better bricks. While she's on the field, she protects level 6 and higher spellcasters, I think, as well, from being targeted or destroyed. One of the two, I forget. But that effect you don't care about. Mana actually is good in the grave and is okay. Like, you don't want her in the hand, but she's okay in the hand because she can get herself out of there. Whereas, like, Mahad in the hand, he's stuck. DMG in the hand, well, if you have secrets, otherwise she's stuck. DM, we have many ways to get DM out of the hand and onto the field by now, but Mana's like the best one. She's still not good, right? That's why C, I think. I think maybe C is generous and maybe it's D. We'll put her in D for now, and if we change our mind later, we'll move her. But yeah, long story short, she's better than most of the bricks, but I mean, DM's DM, so we have to play him. But yeah, there's just a lot of cards that fit these tiers in DM, so we got plenty to go. Magician's Rod. Oh, I want to put it in A. I know I put it in B last time and I copped flack for it. I do want to put it in A, but there's just too many better normal summons. There's too many better normal summons for our deck. I really wanted this post the new support. I really wanted Rod to be our main normal summon that we play 2 to 3 of. But we just live in a world where we have Illusion of Chaos that can get it if we don't open the other normal summons. And it just, well, it doesn't have a spell that's a 1-card starter. I think it's... No, I do think it's A still, because I think it's not Rod's fault. Rod by itself is a good card. It recycles itself on normal summon, add a spell trap. It's just DM still doesn't have that spell or trap that just like gets the deck going. Like how Blue Eyes has Wishes. We don't have the Dark Magician Wishes, right? We just don't have a spell that just says, yup, your deck's flowing now. We don't have that branded fusion kind of spell, which is good and bad, right? We don't have that heavy choke point yet. But in saying that, it means we don't have any power spells, which is really dumb in the Spellcaster deck. The main Spellcaster deck of the franchise. This alone makes me want to bump Soul Servant down and leave Rod up here, because calling both of these cards A tier feels really silly, because if you open both these cards, you can't make a play, really. Well, you can now with the Blue Eyes link, but relying on the Blue Eyes link, you can make a play with these cards. How silly does that sound? It really hurts my brain. But yes, the fact that Rod doesn't synergize with Dark Magician of Destruction is silly. It's silly. I really want to put Rod in A. I just want to make that clear. I really want to put Rod in A, but the fact that all the lists now we play like 1 or 2 maximum, I think that really sells that Rod is a B. And that does make me think this card should go lower, because we don't play any copies of this. I'm going to obviously reevaluate the list as we go. But yeah, Rod, I'm going to put Rod in B for now, just because it's not Sage. Look at Sage in Blue Eyes, okay? For context, look at Blue Eyes as Sage. There's no replacing Sage. I mean, you normal Beryl, but that's because you also get to normal Sage. And that's kind of how Rod is. Like, Blue Eyes literally play 3 Beryl, 3 Load to get Beryl, and 3 Sage. And 3 Wishes, which can get Sage. We wouldn't do that for Rod. So I think, through that logic, I can say Rod is a B tier. Until we get that spell that Rod can add. Wow, I put Combination at this point. Combination could probably sit in D, but I'm going to move it to E because it suffers from the same issue as a lot of these cards where it's like, technically you can play it, getting it to work is not worth it. You need to have DM or DMG on the field and the other name in the graveyard. So this card requires you to play the girl and the boy, which we're all playing Da Boy. You have DM on the field or grave and DMG in the opposite, and you need to basically tribute 1, swap it for the other, and then you get to negate something, and it's just really awkward. And they put this effect on it like, oh yeah, if this card's destroyed, you can pop an opponent's card. But like if your opponent's popping combination, it's like, you know, Duster or Cosmic or Twin Twister at the start of their turn. They're not doing it midway through a duel so you actually get value on this card popping something. No. Combination 9 times out of 10 will just sit on your field and do nothing, or sit in your back row and do nothing. You're probably just discarded for something, to be honest. It's just not doing anything. It needs... Not only does it need DMG and DM, it's not like you can just have them in the hand. It's not like you can have one in the deck and one on the field. It's not like you can have one in the hand and one in the deck. One in the field and one in the hand. You need to have one on the field, one in the grave. And then they have to swap position, basically. So, like, your negate loses to a Bestial. Your negate loses to DD Crow or Called By. Which, I'm just going to remind you, our deck loses to those things very hard in general. Like, we go Eternal Soul, try to summon a guy, they say no. We go Magician Souls, try to summon a guy, they can go Bestial, Called By, DD Crow. Like, we already lose to things like that really bad. So it's like another thing that loses to that. Combination does nothing when you open it up in the hand, and then from there, it only is a negate if you happen to have both bricks in rotation. It's not it for me, Chief. It's not it for me. Twin Burst, F tier. I'm not even going to tell you what Twin Burst does, because it's like, combine the attack of 2 spellcasters, and then like, that something like that. It's terrible. It's terrible. Ooh, Navigation. Ooh, Navigation, this is a bit of a controversial topic. Navigation is not bad, and it has the potential to be really good. And the fact that it has a graveyard effect that negates a spell trap is really sneaky. Because the amount of times, I'm sure people in chat will confirm, the amount of times you've got Navi and Grave, and you've just like, you know, you're on your opponent's turn, you're going Eternal Soul, summon DM, circle, banish card, your opponent's like, alright, now I've got through that, I go for my big power play, and you're like, oh yeah, banish Navigation, negate that spell. And they're like, what? And you're like, yeah, Navigation, banish, negate. That negates? And you're like, yep. No one expects a trap that just summons DMG to negate, or like you might send it for a draw with Magician Souls turn 1 to set it up. If we have a way in future to mill this as part of our normal combo, I think it has a lot of potential to come back in the deck. In Duel Links, yeah, someone mentioned in Duel Links it's really good. Duel Links, a lot of these cards get better. Circle gets a lot better too, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, Navi is like low-key. It suffered from time, like just the pace of the game getting so much faster, but it's honestly not that bad. And if there's ever a Dark Spellcaster that's really good, this can summon it. Like a generic Dark Spellcaster, you go Navi, summon DM, and then the Dark Spellcaster from deck. So if there's like Diabell, you can summon Diabell. That's probably the best target right now. But obviously summoning Diabell on your opponent's turn doesn't do anything. I'm talking about, if there's a spellcaster you can summon on your opponent's turn that's like, you know, floodgate them out of the game, can be good. People used to play Taiku, summoning out Kaiku or whatever he's called, Ghost Destroyer. Not bad, not bad. But yeah, I would say it's D tier because I'd say it's above these cards. I would honestly put it above the E tier guys, but it's also not great. So D, I think, is the perfect spot. Bond. Bond is kind of in a similar boat. I'm going to put it in D. Bond is not bad, requires you to play the girl, requires you to play one of the next cards, Dark Burning Magic, Dark Magic Attack, Thousand Knives, or this. We're kind of going to group all these cards together. That's kind of why I had them all there. So Bond is kind of tied to Twin Burst as well. I think you can set Twin Burst as well. Typically, Bonds wants to set Dark Burning Magic. Dark Burning Magic needs you to have DM and DMG on the field, and then you can blow the field. It's not bad per se. Obviously, this is only good going, like, let's put it in perspective. It's only good going first, for one. It is the only card in the archetype that goes plus, because it summons DMG and then it sets a card. It's actually great for going plus, and that's rare in a control-ish deck, if that makes sense. At least in this deck. So that's kind of good. Dark Magic Attack, weird because it's good in certain matchups. When Mystic Mine was meta, this card was a great side deck piece for us. And that's where I'm split on this card, because it's kind of really dated and bad, because it's obviously a searchable duster that needs a vanilla on the field. But in saying that, it's very searchable. Even Eternal Soul, like Circle Kinetic, Soul Servant, Rod, Dark Magician Destruction, even Eternal Soul has the text to add either Thousand Knives or Dark Magic Attack. So you can actually add this. And one unique thing is, if you have a Dragoon on your field and you just need like a card to discard, Eternal Soul, go and search Dark Magic Attack or Thousand Knives as a discard is something you could do in theory. It's not great, but it's there and it exists. And having a bunch of niche uses makes the card interesting, and I think worthy of D tier at least. Because I've played it and been like, yeah, this is good. It's a blowout card when you see it in the right matchup and you have the vanilla. When you don't, it's a brick. So a lot of this deck, oh, I don't have DM, this card's a brick. And this does suffer from that, as do all the cards down in F, E. I mean, the cards in F suffer from more than being a brick. They're just a brick on top of a brick. But E are like, they're kind of bad. They're kind of bricky. These cards are like bricky in a vacuum. But in theory, they should be fine because you should have a big vanilla idiot somewhere, right? And that's kind of the approach to D tier. So I'm going to keep Bonds, Dark Burning Magic, and Dark Magic Attack in D. You could maybe argue Bonds is C though, because you can just do extension plays with it without playing the bricks. It feels like you're getting less value off it, but you could argue this should go here. It might be the perfect C tier card, actually. That might be right. Just the cards it's setting are worse cards than it is. But yeah, Bonds is an interesting one. Definitely has some value, so maybe C. Maybe C after this discussion. We'll put it in C and we'll see how we go as we move on. C sounds, yeah, I think C sounds appropriate for now. Oh, we've hit a new DM fusion. Cavalry. This is a surprisingly good fusion. I might put it in the... Can I put it in the B tier? I don't know if B tier is too generous. It's not as generic as, say, Rod. Like, Rod is generically, like, you're gonna normal summon, get a card. Cool. He might go in C. Like, he's not bad. He's kind of like Bonds, where it's like, yeah, you can get away with it. I know it's an extra deck card versus a main deck card, but it's kind of like he's smashed Duel Links. And it is a good card in a vacuum, because if your opponent only has cards that target, this card is insane. You can just keep discarding, kind of like Dark Paladin. You can keep discarding and negating stuff as long as it targets, whereas Dark Paladin can keep discarding and negating as long as it's a spell. Let's go get Dark Paladin while we're having this discussion. Dark Paladin kind of in the same vacuum here. And I want to say, now that Gaze of Timaeus is here, now that we have Gaze of Timaeus, which we're getting all the Timaeus cards we're getting to, now that we have Gaze of Timaeus, these cards are a little more viable. I will say that. Like, before, I would probably comfortably put them a bit lower, but they're a little bit better now. Even the Nisha fusions are a little bit better now, because Gaze of Timaeus makes them a one-card fusion as long as you have a way to this guy, and if you got to this guy, you get Gaze of Timaeus, you can get to these guys, right? It's pretty good. So I'm going to put him here, because if you verse a spell deck, this card's insane. If you verse a targeting deck, this card's insane. I think we leave him there with Bonds. I think that's pretty safe for now. Curtain is a F tier card. I hope we get a retrain of Curtain one day, but I mean, we kind of already did. And that's the next card on the list, Magician Souls. Magician Souls, slotting into the B tier. This is going to be maybe controversial that it's not in A. Maybe it should be in A. But Magician Souls is kind of weird in DM. I'm going to say some things about it, and you can let me know in the comments or the chat right now if you think I'm right or wrong. Okay, obviously Magician Souls is a better Curtain. That we've established. But Magician Souls suffers from this very strange issue where, yes, it's S tier in other decks, as Jacob said in the chat. Better in Spiral and other decks where their spells and traps engraved matter more, and the extension matters more. Like, what are we extending into, guys? Like, not a lot. We don't extend into too much. Soul's Dilemma now as well, like, its original purpose is you summon souls while milling a vanilla, right? Milling DM, milling mana, milling Mahad, milling DMG. Doesn't matter. You mill the brick. The theory is, for DM, you mill the brick, and now you've put a lot of your cards live. Your Soul Servants live. You know, your Eternal Souls live. You've made a bunch of other cards in the deck better, thanks to Magician Soul summoning itself and putting the brick in the grave. That it does well. It's Foolish Burial and Monster Reborn in one card. And I say that because you can then choose to summon DM or DMG if they are in your grave. Can't summon the Palladiums for some reason, right? Like, just more anti-synergy. But anyway, you can summon DMG. That's nice. Or you can summon DM. Okay, cool. So you can either put the souls on the field or summon the brick. Sometimes you do want the brick, and that's what we're getting at. You used to always summon souls, because then you go, oh, look at all my bricky spell traps. Let's send some of them for draws. And maybe the opponent will hand trap us to bait for, you know, a better play, or maybe we'll just get some draws and fix our hand. That was the intention of Magician Souls, right? But if you notice, the Dark Magician archetype doesn't have a lot of spells or traps that have effects in the grave. We spoke about Navi having the negate. That's a very rare thing. The other one is Soul Servant, where you banish it and draw cards. So, 2 cards. 2 of our spell traps have grave effects, but the dilemma is, like, if you're playing Navi, you don't really want to see it in your hand, and if you do, yeah, you're sending it for a draw, hopefully, or setting it if you've got the DM in hand. But then Souls has that anti-synergy with Navi where it's rip the DM from your deck and put it in the grave. So it's a bit funny like that. But here's what's happening now that Dark Magician of Destruction is here. You're skipping the step of summoning Souls, right? Because you need to get to the DM. So your Souls now, with the new support, is typically summoning Dark Magician. And summoning him, and then you turn him into Dark Magician of Destruction if you've used a spell. So Souls is in this weird spot right now, I feel, where doesn't do any of the things he's really meant to, because his job is put the vanilla, oh sorry, I hit the mic. His job is put the vanilla in the grave, maybe get some draws to fix your hand. and maybe be linked away for something. That's kind of his role. But now his role is you summon the vanilla. The vanilla becomes Dark Magician of Destruction, which is great. Don't get me wrong, it's great. But the vanilla he just got you from the deck is now banished. And our deck doesn't have a way to interact with our Banish Zone. I'm not sure why they put Banish on Dark Magician of Destruction, while the Thunder Dragon freaking Titan, no, Colossus, sorry, just tributes. I'm not sure why ours couldn't have been a tribute, because we really need, as I established earlier, DM, DMG, Mana, and Mahad in the grave. It's very strange to me with the new direction of the deck, what Souls' identity is, because if I'm summoning Souls, that means I'm not going to demod potentially, or I've opened another card that gets me to demod, in which case, what is Souls doing? It's just putting a vanilla in the grave that's not demod, because I'm going to have demod identifying as DM. So then Souls' job is to send Shining Sark Dark Magician Girl, because that is a crazy combo with Miasma, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, long story short, Souls is kind of in a weird identity crisis right now, in my opinion at least. Let me know if I'm just rambling here, but this is how I feel about Souls when I play it. It's almost like you could cut the card completely and nothing would change. I've even seen people cut it or play it down to 1. And yeah, some Primite lists play it at like 1 or 2. I've personally been playing it at 2 lately, because it's just really weird. I would love to just play DM with 3 Rod, 3 Souls, but it's like we're in this super awkward spot where that would never be like the best statistically possible viable strategy. So I think for that, I'm going to put Souls in B. Brandon has said it should be in A at least. It was at A in my last tier list, and now I think with the new support, it gets a little bit worse, to be honest, which is a weird thing to say, but that's how I'm feeling right now. Maybe we'll change that a bit later, because I think it's better than Rod, probably. Yes, I think it's better than Rod still. Okay. Oh boy, we got the Dark Magician Triangle up next. The big controversial 3. Let's go and put them in C tier, and then we'll move them around a little bit. Okay, so Circle. People say S tier. Let's go, Circle. Circle is my best and worst friend, and I'm sure every DM player feels this way. Circle is that card you're meant to play at 3 because you need to see it, and then you activate it and it reveals nothing, or it reveals another circle. There's just like this curse in the Dark Magician community, and I'm sure it happens to you too if you're watching, where Circle just doesn't do its job. And part of that is not its fault. I'm not going to blame Circle, I'm going to blame Konami. Because in Duel Links, Circle hits. Why does Circle hit in Duel Links? They have 20 card decks, and more DM spells and traps are viable in Duel Links. Circle hits in Duel Links, and in Duel Links you can normal summon Dark Magician without tributing as a skill. Circle is insane in Duel Links, is all I'm saying. 20 card deck. Soon as I played Duel Links Dark Magician, I was like, holy moly, Circle's insane. Circle was not made for the TCG. I know it's a crazy thing to say because it was clearly made for the TCG before it was ever in Duel Links. Duel Links was not even a thought in Konami's head when Circle came out. Looking at top 3, modern Yu-Gi-Oh, where your engine is like, your deck is playing minimal engine, maximum going second or hand trap cards, right? Like, I'm just going to call them like interruptive cards versus your engine. The best Yu-Gi-Oh decks are 1 card engine starters, and you play like 15, I think, normally. 15 is a rough guess. Circle's just doomed from that logic to begin with. Like, there's just not that many cards it's going to hit. On top of that, it can't add DMG for some reason. It can't add the girl. So Circle not adding girl doesn't seem that big a deal, but it's just another card that it can't add, which is frustrating because it's clearly part of the archetype. It can obviously add the vanilla DM. It can't add the Palladiums. It can add any spell trap except Eye of Timaeus, of course. And yeah, it can add itself, so that's great. It's once per turn for some reason, which it really didn't need to be, but it is. And yes, it does provide Dark Magician the effect to banish. And that's honestly what Circle's role was. Circle's role was giving the vanilla monster an effect. Unfortunately, it's not like an effect that you have on Dark Magician permanently, or like it doesn't get attached to him. It's just like, hey, if you summon DM, banish something. Would it have been better as a quick effect if you had a DM? Sure. Would it have been better giving DM the effect? Sure. Anyway, that's how it is. A lot of lists play this card at 1, if any, and some people would make the argument, well, you have to play 3 if you're going all in on Circle. I'd be like, yeah, sure. We've been doing that for years though, and it just feels so bad. Circle to me is a 1 of or a none. And that's just a simple rule of you don't want more than 1 ever. If you see it going second, great. If you see it going first, great. You'll never brick on it at 1 because the deck's already so bricky. Some people might say that logic makes no sense. I really don't care at this point. I've played the deck that long that it's like, Circle, you just never want to see more than 1. Alright, your opponent banishes it, cool. I'm going to go for a different game plan, which is normally just Dragoon Turbo anyway. Circle gets banished, that's fine. I'm moving on. I ain't going for another one. If it goes to the grave, I can recycle it with Soul Servant. Where's our friend? Oh, he's up here. Like, that's the thing. With Soul Servant existing, I'm okay to play a bunch of these cards at 1, because once again, we have a lot of searching, and if you open one of the pieces, you can kind of go search the other. All this being said, Circle is a little bit better than Eternal Soul. Salvation's, I think I'm nearly happy to put Salvation in E tier. I think it's got to be in D tier, but this field spell doesn't do anything. This field spell's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So terrible. There are other field spells in the game, like the 10 by field spell kills your opponent through 13k, like through Pot of Prosperity. I think that alone warrants this going down here. I know that it's not on the level of a lot of the cards here. It might be the top of E. It's not as bad as some of the other cards here, but God, it feels like it. It really feels like it. It's just more viable because it's a field spell, and that means you can send it for draws. It does. Yeah, you know what? We'll put it in D because it has some synergy. Being a field spell, you can use it for Timaeus, Magician Souls, draws, etc. I'll put it in D, but it is a bad card. I think Circle and Eternal... I think Circle's better than Eternal right now, simply because it... Brandon said it in chat, it makes D-Mod have more pressure going second, and it's Ash Bait. I'm gonna say that. It's potential Ash Bait. I know your opponent shouldn't Ash it. I know that, guys. But people will. People will Ash it, and it is Ash Bait for that reason. So I'm gonna put it above Salvation and Eternal Soul for that very reason. The fact that Salvation doesn't set Eternal Soul, yeah, it's silly. It's very silly. I can't put Eternal Soul and Salvation at the same level, though, can I? I guess I can. They're both kind of bad. But yeah, the DM triangle is kind of dead, long story short. There's just better plays to go. Better plays to go for. But yeah, anyway, Bond. I forget what this card's called. Unity within Strength and something. Strength in Unity. Thank you. Strength in Unity. This card is kind of like Circle, but I think for when you fuse and Ritual. Yeah, so when you fuse using Dark Magician or Blue Eyes, you get to target a card on your opponent controls or in their grave, banish it. It's quite a good effect considering we have Gaze of Timaeus now, so I can't really hate it, but yeah, shoutouts to Celebi's in the chat, am I right? Salvation is an F, we can skip that card. Yeah, alright, I'm convinced it's going in E. It's going in E. It can go to the top of E, but it's going in E. Yeah, Unity is actually not bad. It's kind of like Circle, but it can target Grave as well. Yes, it does have to be on Fusion or Ritual, which is in, like, questionably harder than Circle's requirements. I'll put it maybe in D, but it does seem like something you could play. Like, I've seen people testing it instead of Circle, and I gotta respect that. It has another effect to recycle something, but I think that effect's kind of bad, but I guess it can do that too, which is cool. I think it puts a vanilla in your hand or deck, but that's, yeah, kind of whatever. Kind of unnecessary, but anyway. Bond. Bond might be C. Oh, this isn't Bond, sorry. This is, Destined Rivals. Bond is this one. Destined Rivals, like, I never play, maybe it's D. I never play it. Like, in theory, it's better than a lot of the cards here. It's, like, weirdly not that bad. Just, like, an imperm. I know it negates all monsters on the field, but typically you're going to use it when your opponent does one normal summon or one special summon. You're going to have to use it, like, straight away. So, as much as this card is like, whoa, negate all your opponent's monsters, it's not. It's, it's a negate one most of the time, I would feel. 9 out of 10 times, I would say it's negating one card. Because, like, what, your opponent's going to summon 2 monsters and then use both their effects? Like, no. They're going to summon one, use the effect, you're going to go, damn, I need to stop this, and you're going to flip. Unless that effect is irrelevant. But, yeah, by that point, you let it resolve. So, the next summon they do, you will negate one monster. But, anyway, you get what I'm saying. Card is just a little bit awkward. If it was just, I don't know why they were scared to make it, like, skill drain. They should have just made it continuous, and it would have been a lot better. I get that people are like, oh, that's degenerate, that's troll. We're talking about DM and Blue Eyes, vanilla decks. I think if they had their own skill drain, it wouldn't be the end of the world. They could have put restrictions on it anyway. Every other card in the deck has dumb restrictions. But anyway, yeah, card's not bad. It might be on par with Circle and Bonds, but I'll put it here for now. If we change our mind later, we change our mind. This card's going down here. Envoy to Chaos. You tribute a DM and summon Magician of Black Chaos or Dark Magician to Chaos, I think it is. Cool. We're never doing that. Just bad. It's just bad. Master of Chaos. Probably going to sit in C tier with some of his other pals. No, that's wrong. He's going to B. He's going to B. Card is good. Card is good. With the new support with Gaze existing, this card's really good. Going into this, being able to revive a Dragoon on the opponent's turn, good. Going into this in battle phase, really good. Need I say more? This card is way better now, or way more viable now, because we go into battle phase with Secrets and Gaze. Your opponent's not living, because you can go Secrets. Oh, sorry, probably, yeah, Secrets first. Putting, you know, a DM in the grave when you fuse after you've attacked with it, and making something like Master of Chaos, and you can Gaze and banish the DM as well and go for more value. It's kind of a no-brainer. Master of Chaos is insane. It can also board wipe, like, in a weird matchup where your opponent's board's, like, you know, not able to be destroyed, but they don't have any more interactions. You can just go, like, Master of Chaos, tribute a light and a dark, and banish their board. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I wish we had banish face down like Kashtira, but something that we don't have anymore. And yes, this card got so much better with Gaze, so much more consistent to summon it with Gaze. Otherwise, we had to use Illusion of Chaos and a DM and Secrets, and it was just a bit clunky and awkward. So now, this card has a bit of love, because I do think it's quite good. Better than these cards, I would say. But these cards aren't bad. Oh, Amulet. I put Amulet in the middle. This is the middle point of the video then. And Amulet, I'm just going to say, Amulet is here. Amulet is F tier, alright? Amulet sucks. But we're putting it in S. This is the, you skipped to the end of the video and you're an idiot. So any comments being like, Amulet in S, what the hell? We're going to know they didn't watch the video. So we're putting Amulet in S. We'll just leave it at the back, but still, we're putting Amulet in S. Sorry to anyone who likes Amulet, but this card is terrible. All they had to do was copy Drill Beam. They just had to copy Drill Beam. Or we already knew it was a trap, so we were like, okay, probably going to be worse Drill Beam, but that's okay, because it's DM. It'll be DM archetype. It's not worse Drill Beam. It's like, if your opponent activates a monster effect, specifically only a monster effect, in response to your Dark Magician card, you can negate it. Okay, so I have to set this turn 1, use Rod, they Veiler, I flip Amulet, reveal a spellcaster in hand, which you might just not have. Putting that out there. You could just not have another spellcaster. So you could go, oh, I can't flip the Amulet turn 1 because I don't have a spellcaster. The fact that it was already a trap, we're like, alright, it's already worse than a quick play spell like than Drill Beam. And then they just like rub salt in the wound by being like, oh, only when your opponent uses a monster effect. Oh, only when it's in response to your Dark Magician related effect. So it's like, what? Who is this for? Like, what? What is this card doing? Why couldn't it just have been, hey, your opponent did something? Say no. Maybe if it had to be like, hey, if your opponent responds to a Dark Magician card, say no. But even that sounds pretty bad, doesn't it? It just really needed to be Drill Beam. It just needed to be Drill Beam. No, this card is terrible. Anyone who's played this card knows how bad it is. On paper, you read it and you're like, okay, we were skeptical at first, but we thought we'd give it a try. No, it's terrible. It will just sit in your back row. You will set it and your opponent either won't have a hand trap or you will set it and it just will never come up because they'll go, oh, imperm. You go, oh, damn. Or you do something else and they try to negate it and you go, oh, I can only use this in response to DM-related effects getting negated. Well, that sucks. It's just so bad. Just play Drill Beam and Primite. Like, there's no point. There's no point. It's so bad. It's so bad. Anyway, Dark Magic Veil. I feel like this card could have been like a nice C or D tier card if it was searchable. It's even called Dark Magic Veil and it came out with Dark Magician cards. With the movie, I believe, the Dark Side of the Dimension movie. I'm pretty sure that's when it came out. It's clearly meant to be like the DM circle and summoning. It summons from hand or grave, which is nice. Not great, but nice. It pays 1,000 life points, which is fine. But it's not searchable. It has nothing to do with the Dark Magician archetype, yeah, even though it's clearly a Dark Magician card. So for that, it's going in E. I wouldn't put it in F because you could play it. I've seen people play it since it came out. Even to nowadays. I say just play Monster Reborn, or even play Monster Reborn, because that card's actually, not Monster Reborn, sorry, Spell card Monster Reborn. That card's quite good. Doubles up as like a pseudo called by. This card is just a bit awkward, and people are like, oh, it can unbrick your hand. Yeah, but if I'm unbricking my hand with this, like, I'm going -2, like, no. Probably summoning a vanilla, no. Terrible. I guess technically now, with Dark Magician Destruction, this card gets a bit better. Technically, if you had DM in your hand and this, you could use it to summon the DM and you've used a spell so you can go into Dark Magician Destruction. So, I mean, technically this card is a little bit better now, but I'm still going to put it down here because it's not searchable and it should have been. Why isn't it a DM card? Konami could have just put it on the bottom. This card's always treated as having DM in the text. I don't know. It's just silly. Oh, look, another card. Another card that suffers a similar fate, but I would argue is a little bit better. We're going to put Piercing up here. That might be too generous. It might be too generous because Unity is at least searchable. I think it goes down here because it's not searchable. Piercing is interesting. When you summon a vanilla, draw 1. Any card that's a level 5 or higher vanilla or summoned using a vanilla, whether you ritual linked or whatever into it, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not linked. But pretty much if you summon an extra rare card that used a vanilla as material, that monster can now in like the battle phase, damage step, gain attack equal to what it's attacking. Cool. Super awesome. And piercing damage? Piercing the darkness. You'd hope it has piercing as well. The fact that it's not searchable was just weird. Like, it's got Dark Paladin on it, clearly referencing Dark Magician related stuff. I don't know what to say other than another card robbed of not being searchable. Would it have been a 3 of? No, it wouldn't have been a 3 of. Would it have been a nice tech card at 1? Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? These cards could have been great one-offs in some builds, maybe in certain metas. Yep. Nope, they're dead. MagiKuriboh. I don't think it's worthy of F, but it's definitely in the E. This one is searchable, but just bad. We got our first in archetype hand trap, and it's kind of a battle hand trap. Well, technically, if you take effect damage, you can use it too. If you take any damage, you can send it to grave and summon a Dark Magician from, I believe, anywhere. And then I think if a spellcaster is destroyed, you can add it back to your hand. An interesting card nonetheless. A level 1 fiend, so not a spellcaster, which is a bit weird for our deck. But still, Kuriboh, so it's a fiend, fair enough. But he's got like the hat and stuff. I thought it'd be a spellcaster. But long story short, very cute card. Amazingly cute card. Shame they couldn't make it slightly viable, but oh well. It's cute, and that's all I'll say about that. Oh man, my boy. He's going up here with the other fusions or transformations. Oh, I love this card so much. Dark Magic Knight, or Dark Magician Knight. I forget his name, but yes, that. You gotta tribute a Dark Magician with Knight's title to summon this guy. He's so cool. He just pops a card when he's summoned. I think you just target a card and pop it. And he's got the same stats as DM. And he's a warrior. So cool, though. I hope he gets a Link retrain. Or an extra deck retrain. Pretty much all these cards down here, I love them. I hope they get extra deck retrains. Eradicator as well. So many of the DM transformations are awesome. Konami just need to redo them so they're viable or playable. Oh boy. The Chronicle cards. Oh boy. Kuriboh. MagiKuriboh was a silly card. The Chronicle cards were promised as crossover bridging pieces between Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician to make them able to be played together, supposedly. Supposedly they were a celebration of both decks, made to be played with both decks, and maybe even intertwine both decks. However, they don't. I will say Chronicle Magician is slightly better than the girl. If you're playing a rank 7 build or something like that, something similar, I will say the Magician is slightly better. Slightly better because he can summon himself. And nowadays he can summon himself, give a Dark Magician 2,500 attack, make the Dark Magician 5k, and then he himself can go into D mod. Actually, it's worth revisiting him. It's actually worth revisiting him, except he doesn't fulfill the spell requirement. But, you know, if you open Rod and Souls, Rod technically could go get Soul Servant that gets him. Souls could, no, because Souls would have already summoned Dark Magician, right? Yeah, that's the awkward thing. By the time you get a vanilla in the grave to add him, you can't use him because you summoned the vanilla already. It's so awkward. So yeah, no, we're going to keep him down in D tier, but you could argue, no, Sorceress is bad even with Miasma Extra Normal. Trust me, I've tested it. Nope, she's still bad. She's a terrible card. The fact that she's not a Link, she should have been the Link one that unified DM and Blue Eyes. She literally has like the perfect Link effect. When she's summoned, based on the cards in your grave, you can send either a light or dark. So if there's like a dark in your grave, you can send a DM related card. If there's a light in your grave, you can send a Blue Eyes related card. How is this not a Link one that unified both our decks? Like that, she would have been perfect. She would have been a perfect Link one for both decks. So just a missed opportunity from Konami once again. This was like, you know, around the same time where there was a lot of good Link cards, so I don't know why it didn't happen. Chronicle Magician, I really thought was gonna fix the deck or at least be a really cool card, but no, it's staying in D. It's bad. Oh boy, my love, Dark Magic Inheritance, my love. Now this is a card that had potential. It's a very early DM card. It came out back in the 2016-ish support, 2017-ish support, and it was banished 2 spells to add any DM spell trap. It was Rod. It was another version of Rod, but you had to banish 2 spells to use it. I'm not sure why I banished 2 spells. Like, banishing 1 spell would have been enough, especially back then. Now it's not happening at all. But also, I was under the impression our future DM support would be more spell-based because we're a spellcaster deck. I thought one day we would get a Rota-like card that would be a spell. This is where Illusion of Chaos comes in and ruins that. He's not a spell. That's weird to me. I still love Illusion of Chaos, it just doesn't line up with Inheritance. Inheritance also suffers from the issue of Dark Magical Circle sits on your field. Okay, fair enough. Soul Servant, one of the better DM spells, in fact, we only have 2 DM spells up this high. Soul Servant banishes itself to draw. Oh. Well, if I banish Soul Servant with Inheritance, I'm not getting draws. Well, I don't want to banish Soul Servant with Inheritance then, right? It's that simple. Bonds would be a viable banish, but then you're playing Bonds, so you're playing a brickier deck to begin with. And pretty much every other spell below here is terrible, so... off to the E tier it goes, though I'm going to put it at the top of E. I still believe in this card, because it has potential. If we get better spells later, it's a backup. But, in saying that, banishing 2 spells is just a crazy cost for a card that's mimicking Rod. Crazy cost. Maybe if they were scared our deck had really good spells and traps to add, and they were like, whoa, they have to banish 2 spells, because, like, the DM spell traps are so powerful. But the DM spell traps are a joke. Like, Amulet is a joke. Every spell trap is basically down here except Soul Servant, and it banishes itself, so you get my point. Let's move on. The Dark Magicians. Oh boy. Oh boy, I'm a big hater of this card for a long time, but oh boy, am I now an enjoyer. Not only has this card become just better over time, pardon me, it's become amazing because of Gaze. Gaze of Timaeus is an incredible card that can be used like Called by the Grave. And what I mean by that is, Dark Magician of Destruction effect to search is while he's on field, identifying his Dark Magician. So your opponent can go Imperm Veiler on that search. You can chain Gaze of Timaeus, which we are getting to soon. Not too far off. You can chain that Gaze of Timaeus. And you have now dodged the Imperm Veiler. And you have summoned probably a Dragoon or a Dark Magician's. You might be wondering, well, in what case would you summon Dark Magicians instead of Dragoon? Well, I got some good news. The Shining Sark Dark Magician Girl identifies as Dark Magician Girl while on the field, summoned by discarding a card from your hand. So you summon her by discarding a card from hand. She identifies as DMG on the field. She searches for Shining Sark. Opponent can go Imperm Veiler. You can say, hold up, Gaze of Timaeus, targeting the DMG on my field. Opponent has no response from there. Fantastic. She will get banished from Gaze, shuffled into the deck from Gaze, and her search will now resolve, getting you the Shining Sark. Brilliant. Now you can go get Shining Sark DM and summon him. And guess what? Shining Sark DM can now become Dark Magician of Destruction. But you need to fuse with Gaze that DMG into something. And your target not 9 times, I would say like, depending on the matchup, you go either into this Dark Magician's right here, or you go into, where's my friend? Timaeus the MagiDragon down here. Also a good target. Depending on the matchup though, of course. But yeah. So, Dark Magicians became very, very good for Gaze for dodging stuff. That's my main use of him. Yes, he can draw cards and stuff. I'm still salty that this card doesn't identify as Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, because that's just wild. It's literally both of them on the artwork wearing slightly different clothes. It should identify as one of them, or both of them, or, yeah, probably both. I hope in the future we do get a Dark Magician fusion spell that makes anything summoned from it identify as Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl or both. Because that would just be sensational and really make the deck flourish. Imagine a Dragoon that identified as DM. So your Eternal Soul protected as well. Crazy, crazy. And I get it. Some people are like, oh, LOZA, if it identified as Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, that would be too broken, or like there's no other card that does that. Who cares? Who cares, guys? It's DM. If there was any deck where that would be viable and that would be okay, it's this one. It's the deck that revolves around a freaking vanilla. Like, come on, throw us a freaking bone here. Anyway, the card has some merit. I will say that. It can generate infinite value as well if it sits on the field. But modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Goes for 2 turns, so that argument I find very silly. There are definitely games where it sits on the field and gets me some draws though. And typically when you summon it off Gaze, hopefully you... Well, guess what? You will have a spell because the girl gets you the Shining Sark. So then you have the Dark Magicians on the field. You activate the Sark. You don't use the Dark Magician's draw yet. Use the Sark effect to search the DM. And then you do the Dark Magician's effect to draw. That is awesome. That synergy feels unreal. But, yeah. Other than that, the card is going to get banished at the end of the opponent's turn, so maybe it gets you another draw on the opponent's turn, or you can banish it for demod if you want, because it's going to go anyway. But I like to leave it on the opponent's turn to hopefully get another draw, because I'm probably going to flip another Gaze on the opponent's turn and get a draw myself. And yeah, anyway. Oh boy. It's a big one. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Secrets of Dark Magic. A card that I absolutely hate, but also love. I was a big hater of Secrets, as some of you may know, but it has definitely grown on me over the years. Secrets has its place in this deck as a solid. If you play more than one Secrets, I'm sorry, but I just don't get it. It is probably the best card to play at 1 in any deck. The reason being we have Soul Servant once again that can just go and get Secrets back again if you need it. Opening Secrets isn't that great because it needs 2 cards to fuse. Like, why do people want to open Secrets? Like, oh, I would like to open Secrets so I can fuse 2 cards in my hand or on my field. Like, no. You want to open Gaze of Timaeus because it's simplifying the fusion process by eliminating one of the cards. Secrets is a great backup option. Secrets is great when it summons MagiDragon, which we'll get to soon, because MagiDragon summoned off Secrets isn't banishing from the Gaze effect. So you keep it forever, the attack gain just keeps going and going, in theory. But yeah, Secrets definitely grown on me. Secrets only good as a ritual option? No, it's still mainly used as a fusion option. Yeah, the fact that Secrets can't fuse from Grave as well like Gaze can, I think it's a C. It's probably the highest card in C. Maybe B tier for backup. I could respect the bottom of B. I can respect the bottom of B. I guess in theory, it's got to be better than these cards, because in theory, it can make like Dragoon. It can even summon Illusion of Chaos. It can in theory summon Chaos Max. This card can do a lot of good things. It's just that it's like an old-fashioned polymerization, but it is quick play. The quick play value with Gaze of Timaeus is silly, so I'll put it in BT for that alone. In the recent testing, yeah, it's weird because it's a card you don't really want to see turn 1, but if you're going second and you see it, it's quite good. It can be quite good in the battle phase. But yes, I have a love-hate relationship with that card still. And I still say it's a 1, right? It's a 1 of. I will stand by that. Soul Servant 2 or 3. Every other card can nearly be a 1 of because of that. Sorcerer going down in the F tier, unfortunately. Love this guy. Once again, another kind of Dark Magician kind of guy, fusion, transformation. Going down here, just unviable. Yeah, haha, negate all trap card, good. Yep, you need to have 2 spellcasters out, which technically is way easier now with this guy, but I still just think it's just a bad card. If it got a retrain in future, fantastic. Awesome movie card, awesome movie reference. Just like these cards, they're just cool anime cards that are not very good. Dark Magician of Chaos, yes? Magician of Chaos, Dark Magician of Chaos. Dark Magician of Black Chaos? Is that its name? I forget. But anyway, he's down here with his spell because he's kind of bad. The Goat of Goat format, but trash in the actual deck it's intended for. What's new with DM cards and being good in other decks? Chaos Scepter Blast, which is his card, is actually really good. I might put it up in D because it's quite a good card. It's just bad because you need a level 8 or higher spellcaster on the field and it's unsearchable. We have the level 8 or higher spellcaster now that's really easy to get out, and this could be his option in theory. But his option, I've been playing too much Digimon. It's his spell, right, in theory, but he can't search it. So Dmod, if Dmod could search this, huge. But Dmod cannot search it. Dark Magician Destruction, can't add this card because it doesn't mention DM. I think it goes in E, because it is still good, but it's not searchable. Which is where, yeah, the other friends are here who are unsearchable and bad. So they can all hang out together. Very cute, very fun. Oh god. Skill Dark Magician, need I say more? Card is old, super cool card, 1900 attack, goated for that. 3 spell counters, summon a DM from deck. Cool, that's never happening. Very cool card for the ancient times, but Sage of Stone, maybe E. I want to say F though. This is kind of the reverse of Bonds. So Bonds is if you have DM, summon the girl, and then set a DM spell only of the one's name. It could have been anything, but it only lets you pick a couple of different names. Sage of Stone is like if you have girl summon the man. That's it though. I honestly think it goes in F. Like it's just unplayable. Some of these you could say, oh, I can see a niche. I can't see a use for that when Bonds exist and it's just way better. But yeah. Oh, we're getting to the Timaeus section. Timaeus enjoyers. Timaeus enjoyers. Alright. Eye of Timaeus. There, I said it. It's going in E. E for I. E for I, guys. E for Eye of Timaeus. Bad card. Long story short. Unsearchable. Look, we'll put it with its friends. All the other unsearchable DM cards. Here they all are. Unsearchable. 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 It's the unsearchable quadro. They're all hanging out. E for I, fellas. Yeah. What more can I say? Gaze of Timaeus power crept this card. Finally, we needed that to happen. No more rulings and questions about playing I. If you did want to play it, I could understand if you just played 1. But please just play Gaze instead and max on Gaze. Gaze is awesome. But anyway. They could have just errated it to be searchable, but no, they chose to just remake the card, so fair enough. See, Konami's not afraid to remake cards, so when I talk about these cards being remade, you know, don't be like, oh, that's not gonna happen. Like I mentioned earlier, if we get another fusion spell, someone's like, oh, we're not getting another fusion spell. You don't know that, they just remade Gaze, remade I into Gaze, so we could get Secrets remade one day to be better, we could get a branded fusion-like spell one day, who knows. But yeah, I also think we could get like a Gaze-style ritual card as well, but who knows. Anyway, let's get on to the new version of Eye of Timaeus. So this is the newly improved one that is searchable, confused by targeting grave or field. It's going all the way up here in A. Yeah, I like this card. I like this card a lot. And I think anyone who's played it knows that it's a good card. Yes, it has the very silly classic Dark Magician downside of, oh, you're going to banish the guy you summon off this at the end of the next turn. I don't know, guys. We just can't get away from some silly, like... some silly, like, monkey's paw stuff with the DM cards. They always have a monkey's paw negative effect. I apologize. Someone just, like, shat in Mr. Konami's sandwich at some point when it comes to DM support. But card is still insane, is what I'm trying to say. Gaze is still insane. You could say S tier. I would kind of get you saying S tier. I think it's a solid A tier, simply because it does have those downsides that it probably shouldn't. I mean, I could maybe make the same argument for D-Mod if I'm using that as an argument. But I think because D-Mod's so generic, and you can play so many different engines and different spellcasters to get to it, that makes it so flexible that is just so unique and special. Like, you could play a DM deck without DM in theory because of D-Mod. That's kind of crazy, right? This card has reinvented the deck, and obviously Gaze has too, but to a lesser extent. Gaze is in the main, and you do want to open it. And as I mentioned, it's kind of like a pseudo Called by the Grave because it can dodge hand traps, so I like to play it at 3. But typically it's the card you're adding. So a lot of people play 2 because yes, you want to see it, but you don't really want to see more than 1. So I understand people who play 2, I understand people who play 1. This card honestly seems really fit at 1, 2, or 3 in your list. Because, yeah, Soul Servant can go recycle it as well. I just find, me personally, Called by the Grave is at 1. Crossout Designator, 1. Triple attack these talents, 1. Why are they a 1? Stopping opponents' hand traps is silly. Gaze can kind of do that. So to me, it's a 3. Maybe that's wrong, but like, I'm playing DM, it's a 3. 3, man. But yeah, once again, I can understand ratios of these cards. All these cards in A tier, which says a lot about how bad our deck is, by the way. All these cards in A tier, I could understand if you played them at 1. There is, like, barely any cards in DM that I'm like, they're a mandatory 3, right? It's depressing. It's depressing that we live in a world where there's not a DM card that I can comfortably say is a 3 of. I am looking at the cards in front of me. I couldn't tell you, like, oh, if you're not playing 3 of this, you're dumb. I cannot comfortably say that about any card on my screen right now. And that should probably indicate to you the power of this deck is low. It's desperately low. Insanely low for how much support it has. Okay, Ref, that's a good point. That's a good point, Zalian. Ref, I would say play at 3. I would say play at 6 with Insight. But I think that just goes to show how depressing our deck is. But anyway, let's get back on track and lock in. Gaze is awesome for our deck. It really does help because D-Mod identifies the DM in the grave, and the only use of that is really Soul Servant draws or Gaze, shuffling it back to Fusion Summon. So clearly these cards were made to work together, which is fantastic. I still disagree with the banish of both of them. The banish of both of them is too harsh for a deck this garbage. If this was like Blue Eyes support, fair enough. Put some downsides on it. Blue Eyes is good already. But Dark Magician sucks. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Deck's bad. Deck feels like a joke. So the fact that they went out of their way to make this card banish the resource used for it, knowing that the deck relies on the resources to be engraved for draws, for Eternal Soul to function, for Soul Servant to function, for Magician Souls to summon, like, that is wild. Wild to me that they made us banish that resource. And people could say, oh, we could use Apprentice, Illusion Magician, or other cards. Yeah, 100%, but like, it's just worse. Like, it's just making the combo line way more convoluted than it needs to be. So, long story short, like, yes, D-Mod should have tributed the source, and Gaze probably shouldn't banish. It should definitely destroy, though. Which, when we look at some of the fusions, they have good effects on destruction. Master of Chaos, when it's destroyed, add a spell back. Pretty damn good. These ones don't have effects on destruction, but some of the ones we'll get to a bit later do. This friend summons out Gaia the Fierce Knight, Gaia the Dragon Champion, and a Dark Magician. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Actually, there's not too many that have effects when destroyed then after that, but still, you get what I'm saying. Obviously, they didn't make it destroy because of Dragoon, but I feel like they could have worded Gaze in a way that it got around that. I feel like they could have worded Gaze in a way where it's like, and if you, like, destroy the monster, and if you don't, then banish it. You know? You know what I'm saying? They could have done that. And I feel like Konami are slack for not. Because if it destroyed the fusion we had, that would be so much better. So much better. But I digress. These cards are amazing for the deck. I'm just sad they weren't fully polished, okay? Just, You know, I only criticize this deck so much because I love it. Just remember that, guys. I do get some comments from time to time saying, like, why do you even play this deck if you just complain? You have to understand that complaints come from a place of care. It's loving something so much and caring about it so much that you want it to be at its fullest potential. And just think about that with any game or thing you like. When you really like a game, you're like, whoa, I love these factors of the game. You're like, oh, I wish it was better in these aspects, though. It's like anything, right? I don't, you know, talk smack about these cards because I hate them or because I'm negative. I talk smack about them because I love them or I love the archetype, and I just wish there was a bit of polish on there. Because when you look at decks like Snake Eyes, Deer Elements, anything similar, you go, wow, that's what a truly polished deck looks like. You know, barely any downsides. Would be nice to have some cards like that. Conversation for another day, though. Let's get on to the next one. Oh boy, speaking of, Monster Timaeus, straight in the E tier, buddy. Remember, the E tier is for Timaeus, or Eye of Timaeus. So here he goes. I can't believe when we got Illusion of Chaos as support, a fantastic addition to the deck, we got at the same time a Monster Timaeus. I was so hyped when I saw this card, and so many DM fans were. Every time I read the card and I reread it and I kept rereading it, my smile would just drop on each reread because I was just like, wait, this is terrible. You gotta get rid of a card to summon it, then you gotta fusion summon on field, not quick effect. And people would defend this card being bad by being like, well, it's got 2800 attack. I'm sorry, are we in the first era of Yu-Gi-Oh? Are we at Duelist Kingdom, where a 2800 attack monster's quite good? I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were playing Monster Beatdown in 2002, but we're not. So this card coming out in, I believe it was 2022, I think it was around then, and yeah, not being quick effect fuse, and needing to send a card, not just like reveal, it could have just like revealed a DM card, and then summoned, or fused, pretty much like Cartesia. If you guys have read the Cartesius monster, it should have just been more like that. It really should have. Cartesia is also a tuner, but yeah. Yeah, he can also get hand-trapped, which is just silly. You can have him out and get Vela impermed, and then what are you doing? Passing on a 2800 monkey. How silly. This big dragon idiot just sits there and does nothing. What a fool. A fool of a card from Konami. Oh, Amulet Dragon. E is for Timaeus, fellas. E is for Eye of Timaeus, I should say. Amulet Dragon probably doesn't deserve to be here. It probably deserves to be in D because it does have those niche scenarios where like you'd summon it against Sky Striker, banish every spell from their grave. That's quite good. You probably get Widow Anchored in the process though, is my dilemma. But for the sake of the argument, I might put Amulet down here, but you could probably put Amulet in D. But the fact that I'm going to put it down here for another reason, which another card's going to suffer from this problem later too. Dragon materials for fusing in DM are dumb. Look at a dragon fused with Dark Magician. It makes Dragoon. So therefore, any other dragon fusion material for DM needs to be on the level of Dragoon or slightly below. Is this card close to Dragoon? Not even close. Now, this was my argument before we had Gaze of Timaeus. We do have Gaze of Timaeus now, meaning that argument is less relevant because you don't need the dragon material per se unless you're using secrets. With Gaze, you just need any DM, which in theory makes this card easier to summon without needing the dragon material. To that I say, I still don't care. Card's still bad. Long story short, card's still bad. Yes, Gaze does make some fusions better. I would say Gaze makes Master of Chaos better. Even Dark Paladin and Dark Cavalry more valid. But it doesn't make Amulet Dragon any better in my opinion. It's more accessible, but it's still just not relevant when you, like, Dragoon's probably just going to be better. Long story short. And if the deck with spells is really good, you're probably just going to make Dark Paladin or Dragoon instead, right? That's the unfortunate fate of this card. Speaking of, Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, who has Timaeus in her artwork, going in the D tier. This card kind of is similar to that of the Dark Magicians, where you can use Gaze of Timaeus to dodge a hand trap on your Dark Magician Girl of the Shining Sark variant, because you can go into this. And this card on your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, sorry, so your turn or opponent's turn, discard a card, target a card on the field, pop it. It's quite good. It's quite good. It's not Dragoon level, but you know what? She should probably be up here. She's kind of on the tier of these guys. She's actually not bad. Okay, next card. Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. Oh boy. Oh boy. Dark Magician the Dragon Knight goes in D for Dark Magician. I'm going to put him down here while I have a little chat about him, okay? Protecting back row is awesome. If we had back row that mattered. We don't. The Circle Eternal Soul Dark Magician Triangle is no longer really a viable strategy. Do I love it? Yes. Do we all love it? Yes. Is it good? No. Yeah, long story short, the new game plan has shifted to getting Gaze of Timaeus and getting access to DM somehow or somewhere, on the field or grave somehow. Whether it's through Dark Magician Destruction or just a regular old Dark Magician. So if you can, on your turn 1, establish a way to Gaze and establish a way to a Dark Magician on field or grave, that's what the deck is aiming to do. 9 times out of 10, you go into Dragoon on the opponent's turn with Gaze, because then you've done it on the opponent's turn, Gaze is banished at the end of your turn now, and you can use that Dragoon on your turn and do stuff. That's the deck's game plan most of the time, okay? For those who don't know. I'm sure most of you know, but if you don't know, now you know. So what this card does now is, once again, suffers from the, I'm Dark Magician and a Dragon material, and it protects the back row, but the only back row is going to be Gaze, which if your opponent targets it, I'm just going to flip it and use it. So yeah, he kind of protects nothing. And once again, this ties back into my, if this card right here was a skill drain kind of thing for DM and Blue Eyes, then there'd be more merit to this guy as well. But yeah, anyway, long story short, this guy's past his prime. He has some uses. There is some uses of him in certain builds. So I could kind of see Dragon Knight being here. I think E is like the perfect spot for cards that it's like, you can play them, but you probably just really shouldn't. Or they're either, cards in E are either like unsearchable, or they're just so niche that like there's no point anymore. So, sorry, Dark Magician Dragon Knight, you kind of fit that niche description. MagiDragon. E is for Eye of Timaeus, guys. That's why all the Timaeus cards are here. But wait, Dark Magician Girl escaped, and so does MagiDragon. Go on, boy. Get up there. Get up there, son. MagiDragon is kind of the GOAT. I'm just going to reorder these a bit. MagiDragon, kind of insane. Certain matchups. I am a massive fan of this card in certain matchups, like Yummy and, what's the silly hand deck? I've forgotten its name. I'm going to say Virtual World. It's not Virtual World, but it also starts with V. But anyway, decks that have spells that are continuous or field spells and are important, this card's really good. This card is also really good against decks that can't out a big towers that's immune. He does have a slight problem that Gaze of Timaeus does still banish him. I know he says he's unaffected, but that doesn't count Gaze because Gaze is like a summoning condition that is like, because you're using Gaze, whatever you summon gets banished, no matter what, if it's like immune or whatever, it doesn't matter. So if you can summon MagiDragon, it is ideal to summon it with secrets. However, that's not always the case. Sometimes you just got to go in with Gaze, and that's cool. He also has the niche similar to that of the Dark Magicians, where he can be used with Gaze to dodge a hand trap. Whether it's Dark Magician of Destruction or the Dark Magician Girl from Shining Sark, you can use Gaze to dodge a hand trap and go into MagiDragon, because MagiDragon can be made with DMG or DM. So, shoutouts to DMG getting some love. But once again, DMG's really bad and all the way down here. Wait till you see where I tier the DMG from Shining Sark. Wait till you see where I tier her. That's going to be funny. Okay. Oh, yes. Very good point. You can Lancia. And the card that, is meant to be banished off Gaze won't go. And that's really funny. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Someone mentioned the Lancia lock too. Yes, this can pop your own spell traps on your opponent's turn. So you can pop your own Lancia or Scythe, for example. Kind of funny, because there are ways to set it with Dagger and stuff. But anyway. Probably better to pop your opponent's stuff, but very cool that you can do multiple things. I do wish it was quick effects, so you could pop on both turns, but that's okay. I don't know. DM cards have got to be bad in some way. Oh boy. Ebon Illusion. Ebon is for the E tier, fellas. I'm going to grab his friend as well. Here he is. Both Ebons. I'm sorry. Ebon High and Ebon Illusion. Man, I miss the rank 7 days. I really miss the rank 7 days. These strategies are just not even slightly viable. How are you getting 2 Dark Magicians on the field turn 1 or 2 7s? You have to play stuff like Chronicle or Celebi Shoutout or Kashtira cards. This guy's a level 8 as well, which ruins that whole strategy. So the fact that you're playing rank 7s in DM is a miracle if you are. And if you are playing rank 7s, you'd probably play like Big Eye and Flare Metal instead. And yes, someone in chat's pointed out, Ebon High is 100% worse. I'd even put Ebon High down here in F. He sucks. He's bad. Ebon Illusion I can kind of get behind. This card, I'm not going to go into it today, but let's just say his effect is the silliest thing ever, because you can't set the cards in your hand, because you're going to use them from your hand, but then if your opponent outs him, then you want to set all the cards, but you can't by then. It's really dumb. Really stupid card. I'm not even going to tell you about this card. It's bad. I don't remember it word for word, but it's bad. It's terrible. It's a trap, and it's like a battle trap. It's going there. Oh, Illusion Magic. Probably in the E tier. Maybe D. It has some uses. It has some niche uses. It adds 2 vanillas to the hand by tributing a spellcaster. Similar to that of Gaze, you can use it to dodge a hand trap, but you can only dodge a hand trap for Rod. So like normal Rod, opponent goes in, Perm Veiler, chain Illusion Magic, add 2 DMs to the hand from deck, then Rod Search resolves. When that happens, cinema, absolute cinema, feels amazing. Unfortunately, you've added 2 vanillas to your hand, so you're going to look at your now, what, 5 or 6 card hand. 2 of its vanillas, and whatever you searched off Rod, which is also a dog water card, because we've established Rod can't search any 1-card starters or anything that relevant. So, it feels really bad. Long story short, if Rod had a viable search, that was amazing. Imagine there was a DM spell we played at 3. We always like DM wishes, Blue Eyes wishes, but DM wishes. Imagine there was a card like that, we played Rod at 3 to get it. In that case, this could be maybe viable. And if we play 2 or more DM, because obviously if you play 1 DM, this card's useless. It can add DMs from grave or deck, which is an interesting use of this card. Back when it came out, it was quite good for that. It's just awkward because it doesn't add from Banish. That would have been really nice, especially with the new cards using the Banish Zone a lot. I know this card was made way before that, but still, that would have been huge future-proofing, but obviously not. It would also make Allure of Darkness way more viable in this deck. Like how Malice just plays Allure, like Pot of Greed, easy. Must be nice. Meanwhile, there's not a single pot card that's good in DM. Anyway, bit off topic there, but long story short, yeah, Illusion Magic, probably, maybe D, but I'm going to leave it in E because it's just a little bit too awkward. It used to be good once upon a time, maybe, if you want, not even good really, it was a one-off. Anyway, next card, Expanded, suffers a similar problem, E for Expanded. You gain attack, 1,000 attack with this most of the time, because you need 1. For every name DM and DMG on Field and Grave, you get to activate an effect. The first one is gain 1,000. The second one's like spells and traps can't be responded to. And the third one's, I think they're protected, or something similar. Regardless, this needs too many bricks in the grave or field to be viable. And like, what do you do when you open this? Like look at all of the E row. If you open 5 of these cards, what are you doing? Like, that's the problem with all the cards in the E row. You could open 1 of each of them, and you still, like, my hand could literally be every card in the E row. I'm not playing the game. What am I doing if I open every card in E row? Not a lot. Not a lot, sirs. So anyway, yeah, let me open a 10-card hand. I'll still brick. Oh god, this card's here. Miracle Restoring It. Add spell counters. Remove spell counters to add a DM or Buster Blade or something from deck or grave to hand. Terrible. Oh boy, this guy's dated horribly. I'm going to put him in the F tier, I think. I think this card is really bad. It's like the original Illusion Magician kind of guy. It's like Dark Magician Shadow. This card was like a 1 to 2 of used to play back in the day when it came out. I think that was like 2015 or 16. Card is so bad. Card can summon on your opponent's turn if you use a spell or trap. Generic, cool, summon it. What does it do? Well, nothing. If you use another spell trap, you can summon a DM from grave. So, okay, I've used a spell trap on my opponent's turn. Now I can summon it. Cool. Summon it. You might be able to trigger circle. Cool. Now if you use, I guess, the circle activation, you can now summon a DM from grave, but now you've already used circle, so it's, yeah, I don't know. We used to use this to try rank 7 more than anything, but it also identified as another DM if you needed it to, because you already played 3. Back in the day, you played 3, and this was like your 4th and 5th copy of DM, which sounds horrible. What were we thinking back in the day? We weren't. We were bad. But yeah, at the time of this card coming out, we thought it was pretty cool, but it's not. Oh boy, Robe. Robe can join him, because they came out at the same time. These cards are just so bad, guys. Robe is a level 2, 2k defender with 700 attack, and it's got this weird effect where you can discard a card on your opponent's turn to summon a Dark Magician from, I think, deck, hand, grave. I think it's anywhere, maybe just deck. But it's like, quick effect on your opponent's turn to discard summon a DM. So weird. Such a weird effect. Especially because it came out when Magician's Rod came out. And it's like, why would I normal summon Robe when I'm normal summoning Rod? Like, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. And then Robe had this other weird effect. Well, actually, this is the good part of it. When it's in the grave, I think if you have DM, or maybe it's just while it's in the grave, I forget the exact reason, you can just summon it back, but then it banishes when it leaves the field. That's kind of the good effect of it. But yeah, I remember playing one back in the day and you just kind of set it and pass because it was a 2k defender. That is not a great thing to do in 2016 Yu-Gi-Oh! Let me tell you that. And even today, it's just way worse. So I'm putting it in F. It's terrible. We're getting to the controversial cards. Apprentice. I think she deserves at least D. It's not the worst card. It's definitely not the worst card. So I'm going to put it here in D tier. It's weird because there's another card that we're going to get to later that's kind of replaced her, which makes me want to put her further down. Her discard is just too costly. Yes, I know people say, well, she gets a card, so you go even. And I'm like, yup. But the card you're adding is a vanilla. So unless you discard a vanilla, and then add a vanilla, you feel bad. If you have to discard a hand trap for her, feels bad. If you have to discard Rod or Souls for her, feels bad. The only time she feels good, the discard feels good, is when you discard something like one of the bricks. But then she just adds another brick. So it's like, my hand hasn't changed. So she doesn't fix anything is what I'm trying to say. I guess her new niche is she's a level 6 dark spellcaster. So she can go into D-mod. She can turn into D-mod, which is cool. I'll say that. But there's just a better card coming up that turns into D-mod. So, yeah. She can boost attack. That's a good point. She can boost attack on your Dragoon, which is probably the most important thing. She doesn't target, so damage step Dragoon can go up 2k, can help you not die to access code or some other silly things. Not the worst. Back in the day, you played 3 when she released. Nowadays, you wouldn't play more than 1, I reckon, if that. We're getting to a very bad Dark Magician fusion. Dark Magician, the Magical Dragon Knight. I don't know why we got this card. I really don't. We already had a DM Gaia fusion where he stole the horse. Now he steals Gaia's Curse of Dragon for some reason. We've also already had a Dragon fusion. A Dragon fusion. A Dragon fusion. Is there another Dragon fusion? Yeah, another Dragon fusion that we just got. A Dragon fusion, but this time with DMG, at least not DM. So, long story short, we have a lot of Dragon fusions for some reason, and only one of them's really good, and the rest are kind of bad. And this is just adding to that list. This card came out after Dragoon, I'm pretty sure, which is just insane that this came out after Dragoon. Like, huh? Master of Chaos came out after Dragoon, and he was like a nice one of or none. And I was like, oh yeah, he's okay. This card makes no sense. I don't know why this card isn't more like Invoked Purgatrio. This card comes out and it's like, it's got piercing, and it has, when it destroys something in battle, deal damage to your opponent equal to the monster's attack. So it's kind of like Flame Wingman with piercing. Cool. Why doesn't it have like Purgatrio's effect where it can like attack everything then? So it could be like a game finishing card if your opponent's played all defensive. That was like really cool about Invoked, how all the fusions had the kind of their own niche scenarios. I mean, only really 3 of them got sword play, but even then, super cool cards. DM felt like it was kind of going for that toolboxy fusion extra deck, but then it's like, what is this for? Like, I summon it, I beat over something, or I beat into something in defense, I do piercing, and I burn them for a bit, and then what? Because this card has the effect when it's destroyed, you can summon Dark Magician and Gaia the Dragon Champion from your extra deck. And it's like, now I have to play Gaia the Dragon Champion in my extra deck? And also, how do I pop this? If you could pop this in the battle phase, it'd be a lot better. Kind of like Dark Magicians. If there was a way to pop these in the battle phase, these cards would be a lot better. And in saying all this, remember the card I spoke about earlier, Gaze of Timaeus, and how it should have destroyed instead of banishing? Well, this is kind of what I'm getting at. If Gaze destroyed instead of banishing, and then if it couldn't destroy, it would banish, that would have fixed the Dragoon issue. It would have also made Dark Magicians pop out Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, setting up so many things for our deck. It would have made this card pop out at least Gaia Dragon Champion and DM, which is, guess what? I think a Dragon and Dark Magician, which means your Secrets is then live to make a Dragoon on the opponent's turn, or you can just gaze into something else. Dragon Knight would just go to the grave, which is fine because he can come back, which I think would have been a great workaround with Gaze, just destroying the monster. It's like, oh well, it's Dragon Knight, we'll just bring it back with Eternal. Amulet would have added a spell, I guess, even though you probably wouldn't have played it. Paladin doesn't add anything, or he might add a spell. Cavalry, I don't think does anything. I can't remember. Master of Chaos would have added a spell. This guy, I don't think does anything. But, long story short, Gaze really should have destroyed. And this card's one of those examples. But, I also think this card and Dark Magicians need a way to pop themselves in battle phase. Because then these cards get pretty good.
to say the least. Right now, Master of Chaos is serving as like the battle phase destroyer, along with Timaeus. MagiDragon Timaeus and Master of Chaos in the battle phase wreak havoc on everything. Unfortunately, this card and the Dark Magicians should be able to do like tricky plays like that. Think of it as like a spellcaster's box of tricks. Imagine you went to the battle phase with Magician's Rod on your field, Secrets in your hand, and DM on the field. You go attack with Rod, attack with DM, that's 4,100 damage. Secrets into Dark Magicians hit for another 28. Dark Magician's effect to like split out and become DM and DMG, swing, swing. Makes sense, right? Same thing. Attack with the Dark Magician and some random ass dragon, or just nothing. Gaze into this guy attacks him, maybe pierces, does some stuff to some guys, cool. And then he splits into Gaia Dragon, Champ, and DM. You go bam, bam, some more hits, and then you can Secrets to fuse them back into something like Dragoon, or just a different dragon fusion, and like go bam, bam. It just makes so much sense to me if these cards pop themselves, and a lot of this does come from me playing Digimon, where one of my favorite decks would do something like this, where the card was really good at popping itself at the end of its attack to recycle and kind of set up a loop of doing it again. And I kind of went, damn, this is kind of what those DM fusions should do, that, you know, summon stuff when they're destroyed. But that would help with the going second pressure of the deck, though I will say Gaze really helps the deck going second. And yeah, but long story short, that was things I thought before the new support. I still kind of think those things, because Gaze should have destroyed instead of banished. But anyway, Magician's Defense is going into the F tier. Card is terrible. We're not going to talk about it. Yep. Now we get to the controversial part. Shining Sark, baby. Let's go. Some people will say this is not Dark Magician support. And to you I say, I used to think that too. However, I've changed my ways. I now think these cards are Dark Magician support because of how crazy they are for the deck. You can disagree, that's okay. Tell me in the comments why you disagree, but I'm going to say yay, because this card, the girl, is going in the A tier. And if you notice, there's not really any Dark Magician monsters in the A tier besides this guy, and he's kind of just Rota. So this is like me putting Bonfire in the S tier in my Snake Eyes deck. Well, yeah, it's going to be there because it's good and it's a one-card combo that gets me everything. So, the Dark Magician girl from Shining Sark is insane and better than 99% of Dark Magician cards. Yes, she needs a discard, but by her alone, you can get to Chaos Max. From her alone, well, with a discard, once again, it's a 2-card combo. She can get to Chaos Max, she can get to Dragoon, she can get to double draws with Soul Servant into Dragoon, she can get to the craziest boards with just herself. Well, once again, with a discard. Crazy. She can only do that because of this card here, which I'm going to put in the C tier, which, no, it's better than Circle. Maybe the B tier. I don't know. It adds her, so it, by extension, can't be like lower than C. We'll put it at the top of C. This card's good because it's a spell. Maybe it goes in B. It's good because it's a spell. And using a spell in DM now is actually very relevant. So a lot of people are playing like 3 girl, 2 Sark, or 1 Sark. I still just 3 and 3. 3 and 3. These cards are insane. 3 and 3. This guy sucks. He's kind of the brick we have to play. He's kind of down here with these guys. Maybe he goes in here though. Maybe he goes in D because he can do some crazy stuff. But yeah, he's kind of a bit awkward. I'll put him in here with the other bricks though, because he can do some stuff. But he's kind of just another brick a lot of the time. But long story short, the Shining Sark cards, as you can see, are very high up in the lists. And yeah, this being a spell means you can go into D mod. This being a spell that searches this means he can become the D mod. Or if you already have a way to get the Dark Magician name on the field, like you've already got a Magician Souls that can get to a DM and get to a Dark Magician Destruction, you can just get the Sark to get the girl. Summon the girl if you got a free discard. Brilliant. And girl adds another Sark. Always good for discarding or for the Sark effect to be live on the field. Yes, it's a negate. It's making me want to push it to B. And then from there, you can just pop off because you've got the DMG on the field identifying as DMG. You've got either this Dark Magician or this Dark Magician or this Dark Magician. And you go, oh, I haven't normal summoned. I haven't normal summoned yet, have I? Because I've just used Shining Sark stuff. Well, off I go. I'll go D mod. I'll go get myself Rod. Normal summon Rod. Rod go get Soul Servant. Oh, my board is Rod, Shining Sark DMG, and one of the 3 DMs that I've just shown. Well, I guess I'll Soul Servant, stack Gaze, and draw a free card. And then you've got 3 monsters on the field to link with. It's insane. I just said earlier how nothing in this deck you can play at 3, but DMG's the one you can play at 3 very comfortably. And same with Shining Sock. So for that alone, I think I'm going to put him here at the top of A and B. For that alone, I'm putting him up here. And you can say they're not Dark Magician cards, but they literally are. Literally by the text on their cards, they are. And yes, I was always of the impression like, oh, they're a separate deck. Like, yes, it's like, the Blue Eyes in the Millennium deck. It's for a separate thing. 100% that was my thoughts. Until Dark Magician of Destruction came along and really intertwined these decks. I was a strong believer of Shining Sock and DM being separate decks until D-Mod, which I have a whole video saying why he's not Shining Sock support, or wasn't going to be. We didn't know what he did yet, but I was like, look at the art. If you look at the art, he's not a golden background Shining Sock card. Which technically, from my visual analysis, correct. Just incorrect in factual information. He's like the glue that ties together DM and Shining Sock. And he also is very good just in Shining Sock in general, and for DM in general. So, this card is just brilliant in all 3. The Girl is an amazing card with Gaze. The Girl is an amazing card for the deck in general. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. I can't understand why people won't play this engine now. I can get if you're playing Diabell or you're playing Priamite, like you got other engines, so you're not playing Shining Sock. Fair enough. But if you're like, oh, I only play pure DM, put the Shining Sock in, guys. Put the Girl, put the Shining Sock. You don't have to play the Guy. That's an option I do. It is another brick. Whatever. We used to play in bricks. If you open the DM by himself, yeah, it sucks. It's the equivalent of opening these guys. It's pretty bad. But you just need to get to these, hopefully. But in saying that, Magician Souls can also send her, so I think this is where Magician Souls gets a bump. Magician Souls can send her to the grave, and you can add her to your hand with Miasma. Yeah, you need a link too, though, from here. So you need Souls and Rod, or Souls in any normal summon. Go link her to Miasma, add her back to the hand, and you can summon her with a discard and search with her effect, even though Miasma says you can't do that. Miasma says you can't search with the card you added, but guess what? Because her name changes on the field to DMG, you can search with her. You can search with her. It's so silly. There's going to be judge calls about it, and it's going to be so funny because it's just viable. It's just the only thing in DM that's like sneaky. It's like the only thing in DM that's sneaky and awesome. Like, all of our stuff is really honest and fair, I would say. And by saying that, I mean most of our cards are underbalanced and our effects are very obvious. This is the one thing that's going to trip people up and is actually crazy. Absolutely insane. So the fact that you can do that in this deck, I think she's a 3 of. And even though, as I said, you can send her off Magician Souls and then get her with Miasma, I still think she's a 3 of, and I still think Sock's a 3 of. I mean, I'm also a bit biased because I'm playing 60 cards, so I kind of have the room to play them at 3 and be like, that's fine, it's consistency. In 40 cards, yeah, I can get cutting on them for going second stuff, hand traps, etc., etc. And Matchy said in the chat, he can't wait for a judge to rule against him. Me too, King, because it happened so much with Dragoon. I know it's going to happen again with this card, where they're going to say you can't use the search, and I'm going to be like, well, I'm going to need to find a reference card to quote, because that's the best way to get through to judges I've found. If you have a card to reference as evidence, that's typically good, because normally they'll be like, what tournaments have you been to where, they let you do that ruling? And I'm like, my locals, and they're like, that doesn't count. And I'm like, okay, well, in Australia we have YCS and we have locals, and like, there's not a lot else going on. But anyway, that's going to be a fun time. I'm going to have to find a comparison, so if you guys can think of one, let me know in the comments or the stream chat, because we're going to need one. We do need a reference, because that's going to be helpful in rulings. But anyway, to top off the tier list, let me know if there was cards I missed. I definitely missed some in the last tier list. Yes, I didn't put Red Eyes Fusion on here. I'm sorry, everyone who likes the Ref LOZA. The Ref LOZA would still put Red Eyes Fusion in the S tier. To be honest, if you play a Ref build, it's a card you want to maximize on, so you probably put it in the S tier. Alright, in the S tier, we've got Dragoon, Dark Magician of Destruction, and Magician of Black Chaos, because these cards single-handedly can win you games. D-Mod just ties the deck together. While he doesn't win you the game necessarily, he's the glue that glues this deck together, glues the other engines of your deck together to form Dark Magician. Dragoon's Dragoon. It's your toolbox fusion that you'll go to 9 times out of 10 because it just beats 90% of scenarios by itself. And then if not, you've got some other friends to help you along the way. And if you're going for more ritual stuff, well, Dodo's your best friend, but also this guy right here, Magician of Chaos Max. Card's insane. So between Dragoon and Chaos Max, you've got two great options as your god card. And D-Mod will help you get to either of them. Well, technically, no, he can't add you this, but he will get you a combo that gets you there. And Amulet, well, what's there to say that hasn't been said about Amulet, everyone? Anyway, Dark Magician Girl of the Shining Sark variant, insane card. Definitely the only card I can recommend here as a 3 of. I would comfortably say play every card below her at 2 or lower, maybe not Shining Sark as well, but pretty much everything I would say you could play at 2 or less. And I'd be like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. I would say Dark Magician Girl needs to be a 3 of. It just does. It's insane. It's the best card in the deck if you would consider it in Archetype. Illusion of Chaos, still not a bad card. Would be better if it could add the DMG. Sadly cannot, even though technically does list Dark Magician since her name's Dark Magician Girl, but still can't be added. That's alright though. Gaze of Timaeus, great new piece of support. Absolutely blows this card out of the... Makes Dark Magician Girl better. Makes D-Mod better because they can dodge hand traps. I know it's only Imperm Veiler, but maybe some other targeting effects too can be dodged thanks to Gaze. Absolutely silly. Absolutely crazy. Soul Servant can be used to search Shining Sark as well, as people have mentioned in the chat, which is another reason Soul Servant's up here so high. Soul Servant has always been decent-ish. I feel like it's better than ever now because of, as I mentioned, Shining Sark Engine makes her name DMG. We have the Shining Sark DM, we have our DM, we have D-Mod. All the engines you play, whether you play Primite, whether you play Diabell, whether you play the Shining Sark stuff, whether you just play something else in your DM deck that's a spellcaster. If you can get to D-Mod, Soul Servant suddenly live. If you can get to Dark Magician, Soul Servant is live. And get to the DMG or Shining Sark, this card is live. Everything makes it live. Beryl, Diabell, all the Wanted, all those cards make this card live, at least to add one single card. That one single card can be any monster in the archetype, barring some of the unsearchable ones. Meaning it can... This card essentially fills in a space, a filler spot, as any of the cards you can see here, really. Like, it's just that crazy. It can also net you a second draw if you do happen to get DMG and DM on the field or grave, which is huge because getting an extra card in this deck is just not going to happen that often, really, besides Soul Servant. Magician Souls, bit of a weird card. I did have it in B for most of the tier list, but I'm going to bump it up to A at the end because it can do some crazy stuff, okay? Most of the time, it's going to be summoning Dark Magician to go into D-Mod nowadays, which is unfortunate because you normally wanted to summon it, get draws, or summon the Dark Magician and have it in rotation. And now it does neither of those jobs, which frustrates me to no end. The fact that you summon either it for draws now, but then you can't make D-Mod, or you summon DM and banish the DM for D-Mod, hurts my soul a little bit. But the fact that you can use Souls, send DMG from Shining Sark, and go down a whole nother route if you can get to Miasma and don't get negated. Wow, that makes Souls kind of crazy in my opinion. So I think Souls has to be A for that alone, but it's also got obviously lots of uses in the deck. I just think Souls' use is kind of split into 3 different paths now, which makes it a lot harder to use. Anyway, Shining Sarcophagus, card's good because you can add the girl, but better than that, can add the guy, so if you open both, it's still fine. And it's also a great Ash bait card, so it's also a spell. Spells are important with the new support, so you can get into D-Mod. Rod, my beloved. I wish Rod could be better. I wish Rod could be better, to say the least. He's just still kind of sitting down here, waiting for his time to shine. Sorry, Rod, it's not today. I would like you to be a 3 of and sit in A. He recycles himself, which is great. He's actually insane at 1 now because D-Mod normally searches him if you haven't normaled. And then if you have normaled, D-Mod normally just searches Soul Servant, right? So, and Rod, technically, when you go D-Mod Rod, you normally go Soul Servant after that. So, I think Rod honestly isn't that bad at 1 and is still very good. Dark Magicians and Timaeus MagiDragon, they fill a sort of similar niche role here where they're part of the guys you can gaze into from your Dark Magician of Destruction and your Dark Magician Girl Shining Sark plays, where they're getting impermed or veilered and you have gaze in hand. You can chain the gaze targeting them and go into one of these two, depending on the matchup. If you don't know the matchup, Dark Magicians is normally better. If you do know the matchup, MagiDragon's good, well, go for MagiDragon. Master of Chaos also here now because Gaze has just made him an absolute powerhouse. Gives the deck a lot of going second pressure. Also got that ability to wipe the field
probably the least relevant part of his kind of card effects. Just summoning one back in battle phase is so solid, especially when you can then use secrets as well with Gaze in battle phase to maybe make a MagiDragon, just push for crazy amounts of damage. The amount of Dark Magician mirrors we have where the going second player wins because of Gaze and secrets and these fusions is really crazy cool. So yeah, speaking of secrets, solid one of. Here in the B tier, maybe a bit too generous, probably should be down here, because you don't really want to see it, but when you do, it just does so good, like so good of things going second. But you could definitely say this card should be down here, but it also does have a lot of synergy with some of the other engines, especially mentioning that this card identifies as DMG, blah 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 blah. This can kind of be like another version of the Gaze where you can dodge a hand trap potentially. For example, if you summon out Dark Magician off Magician Souls, you normal summon Beryl, opponent goes to hand trap Beryl, you can use secrets to make Dragoon with the Beryl and the Dark Magician. Suddenly your Beryl search resolves. Kind of crazy, right? Similar scenario here with the DMG. You could summon the DMG, opponent goes to hand trap her, maybe you don't have Gaze, maybe you got secrets, and you're willing to give up some other spellcaster in your hand. Maybe not ideal, but the fact that the card's flexible in what it can do is awesome. Being able to set and fuse on the opponent's turn, just like Gaze, is crazy, because you can potentially make 2 fusions in the opponent's turn, or once again in the battle phase use both the push for game. Super nice. Love having them. I do understand people playing 2 Gaze and 1 secret, so you've got like a split. I'm still going 3 Gaze, 1 secrets, but I have had games where I open all of them, and yes, it feels bad because they don't do anything on their own. Magician of Chaos is sitting here. I think he's got to get moved down to C when I look at these other cards here. He's definitely not in the like playable vicinity of the cards up here. Is the card good for Ritual DM? Yeah. I think it has to go down here. I really think it does. It is a good card in a vacuum, but getting it out's just a bit unco, and the fact that Illusion of Chaos can't search it is it's so silly. Super dumb anti-synergy from Konami there. The 2 fusions at the start here are mainly up here because Gaze has made them more accessible, and in certain matchups they are very good. They are not once per turn on their negates, so if you do verse like Sky Striker, Paladin just auto wins the matchup, for example. And then, in saying that, Cavalry's in a similar boat. If you verse a deck that can only target, well, you're in luck. Cavalry just sits there and wins. He also gains attack for all the spells and traps on the field and grave, and does piercing, so there's some merit to effects like that too. And of course, Dark Paladin gains attack based on dragons in the field and grave. Not the most relevant effect there, but super cool regardless. Yeah, speaking of these other cards, Dark Magician Girl the Dragonite serves a similar purpose to the MagiDragon and Dark Magicians, where you can gaze into her off the Dark Magician Girl getting impermed or veiled, and she's not bad, right? I discard a card to pop a card on the field, it's not bad. It just normally if you're going to have Dragoon and her on the field, that's 2 discards, and that can feel really rough. So that's the reason she's down here, but she could maybe be up here with those guys. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just think she's a little bit worse than these guys and what they provide for the deck in the extra deck. Because, you know, there's only so much extra deck space. We can't be playing, like, one of all of them. As much as I'd love to, we really can't. Chaos Form didn't even make the list. If it didn't make the list, guys, there's a 99% chance there's a reason, and it is the card's bad. So, yeah, apologies, but Chaos Form sucks. Bonds is viable sometimes, which is why it's here at C. I don't know what to say about it. It requires you to play bricks to get maximum value. Otherwise, it's just an extending card that summons the girl when you have the guy. If you have a combo that really needs the girl and guy in rotation, yeah, maybe this is the card for you. But I think it has potential going forward. Right now, it's not for me, but I know some people really like it. But yeah, I think by card design, it's a C tier card. Kind of on the same boat as Circle, where Circle is just a bit too dated now. They really should have made a new Circle. The Circle Alt Art should have been a new Circle. I will stand by that. It really should have. Yes, Chaos Form does need a modern retrain as well. I'm thinking like a Gaze version for that, where it can banish the material, shuffle the material, sorry, from hand or deck. Sorry, not hand or deck, I guess field or grave. But anyway, that's a topic for another vid, hey. D tier, where we put the vanilla, mana, Dark Magician of Destruction, not Dark Magician of Destruction, Dark Magician, the Magician of whatever, the Shining Sark one, Destined Rivals, Apprentice, Eternal Soul, Navi, Dark Burning, Dark Magic Attack. You can't see this card over here, but it's, whatchamacallit, Unity and Strength or whatever. Strength and Unity, that one. And Chronicle Magician. Just a bunch of cards that you kind of either have to play if they're Dark Magician, or you would only ever play like one of them because they're kind of just weird or kind of just not worth playing in my opinion. Obviously, you got to play this guy. There's nothing I can say about that other than you got to play DM. But ideally, the world where we play the least amount of him, the better. Alright, E tier. This is for cards that are literally, like, very close to unplayable, to say the least. Like, these cards not only will brick up your deck, they're bricking it up for pretty much no good reason. Inheritance probably used to have the most potential, probably doesn't anymore. Salvation should probably be at the start here. Could have been a good card, but the fact that this was released fairly, like, this is a fairly new card within the last 3 years or 4 years. And it is terrible, it is crazy. Worst field spell I've ever seen for a deck, to be honest. So yeah, Inheritance, Salvation, terrible cards, unfortunately. Eradicator, Warlock, meme. A lot of the cards here are just meme, really, or just bad. Mahad, bad. Dark Magician Girl. Honestly, the amount of support that wants you to play her, and then half of the other support doesn't want you to play her, so it's just really awkward when you do or don't play her. It can just feel super weird. Yeah, E tier is just cards that are super niche, guys. Like, don't think I'm attacking you if you play them. It's just they're really niche and bad. Next is Piercing, or they're Unsearchable in this case. We've got the Unsearchable trio here. Unsearchable, Unsearchable, Unsearchable. Not bad cards. You'd probably play some of them if they were searchable, but their non-searchableness is like, well, I'll just play a Hand Trap or a Going Second card at that point, right? There's no point in me playing a Banish 1, or a Draw 1, or a Summon 1, when I can just play Monster Reborn, Regeki, Lightning Storm evenly, and Upstart Goblin, right? Like, what's the point? What's the point? MagiKuriboh is all the way over here. Cute, Hand Trap, not the Hand Trap DM needed though, let's be real. Sorc is being covered up. Worse than Chronicle Magician, which is saying a lot. Card's absolutely terrible, should have been a Link 1. Combination, terrible. Needs too much. Needs too much. No, John Blue is incorrect. John Blue is saying you only need Dmod as DM to count. Oh, no, actually, that's true. You could have Dmod on the field, DMG in the grave. And then, yeah, technically combination is live. But then, like, I don't know. It's still bad. It's still just such a bad card. I don't think you play combination any day of the week when you could just play any Going Second or Hand Trap. It would just be a better addition to the deck. Because once again, most of your searches are going towards Gaze. So it's like, where are you going to fit in your search pattern to grab combination? And then you can only do that if you've got Souls and another way to demod. Because remember, Souls is your way to get DMG in the grave. But it's also your way to make demod. So unless you've got an additional card to get to demod, and then Souls to send DMG to grave, then you can Rod or demod search for this. But then you're not searching your Gaze. So you'd also have to open Gaze to even think about searching combination. So you'd need Souls, a card that gets to demod, Gaze. Is that right? Do we need anything else? And combination can be searched from there. That's all the things you'd need to then... You need 3 cards and then go, okay, now I'm going to get combination. So that's why this is the E tier. The fact that you need those 3 cards... You can say you usually end on that. That's fine. That's just not true, though. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just not statistically possible. Like, that's not how math works. If you need 3 specific things to be like, okay, now I'll search this 3rd best option. Like, if I've already got Gaze, guess what I'm searching? Another copy of Gaze. Because I can make a Dragoon on my turn, and then I can make a Dragoon on my opponent's turn. Because Gaze is once per turn, but it's a quick play. So I can go, yeah, I'm going to make Dragoon, and then I see my opponent start playing the game, and I go, oh, MagiDragon's good in this matchup. I'm going to Gaze again and make a different guy, right? I mean, technically I do have to have 2 Dark Magicians available, but that's very viable thanks to Demod existing. So, plus the Blue Eyes Link and all that stuff, helping get another vanilla in rotation. But anyway, long story short, combination needs too much. And I'm not going to explain it again because that's like the case for all the cards here. All the cards here need too much to go right or need too many other cards in hand to be considered. And that's why they're here. They're unsearchable, or they take too much resources, or a combination of the two, or they're just terribly bricky. So, yeah, that's another good point. When does Demod stay on the field? That's pretty true. You don't really use Demod as a tribute. I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. Your end boards with Shining DM, what? Okay, I'm going to ignore these comments now. Eye of Timaeus is just terrible, and now that we have Gaze, you never have to even consider it again. So anyone who screamed for an errata of this card or a rework, you got it. I can't believe it, but Konami did it, and we never have to look at this card ever again. So that's awesome. That's really awesome. Dodo just said the funny thing about combination, well, the good thing is it not once per turn. Dodo is out here saying to play more than one combination. That's wild. Anyway, there's no reason to play Eye of Timaeus because Gaze of Timaeus exists. I don't really know if I have to say more than that. Timaeus, the MagiDragon, is terrible. Okay, there's someone in my chat called Dark Magician that doesn't know what Gaze of Timaeus does. How can your account be called Dark Magician with a Dark Magician profile pic and you don't know what Gaze of Timaeus is? It's literally searchable Eye of Timaeus, long story short. It's just a better version. Timaeus, the United Dragon, this card is terrible. Shouldn't have been printed. And especially with Gaze of Timaeus existing, this card just gets worse again. Probably could fall to the F tier, to be honest. Amulet Dragon, severely outclassed by the other Dragon fusions, and just fusions in general now because of Gaze. Gaze not needing the other material to be correct. It's still just outclassed. Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, kind of in the same boat as Amulet Dragon, because really, this card was just a rework of this card. If you look at the art, they're so similar as well. Really just the same guy again. Just without Circle and Eternal Soul being that viable anymore, or ever really, this card has just fallen to obscurity. Protecting your back row is just very silly, because what am I protecting? My Gaze of Timaeus? It's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything. Alright, Ebon, Illusion, and Ebon High, they're just both so bad. You are not getting 2 level 7s on the field turn 1. And if you are, there's just better options to make. It's just... there's just no reason. Oh, that's a very good point. Someone just said, the new fusion is Amulet Dragon 3. It really is. It literally is Amulet Dragon 3. It's crazy, they've made 3 now. There's just no Dark Magician riding him. Instead, like, Dark Magician's armor from the Knight version is fused with him, which is just wild. It's literally like the armor from this one too. If you look at the shield in this Dragon Knight, it looks like this plate right here. Tell me I'm tripping. That plate right on Timaeus's Timaeus's leg is just the shield from this art. It's crazy. Anyway, Ebon card's bad. Illusion Magic was good once upon a time. Never was good. It was a one-off once upon a time. Terrible. Expanded, terrible. Could be viable one day. I could see it being viable one day, but too niche. This Dragon Fusion, once again, outclassed by all the other Dragon Fusions. Their fusions not having a way to destroy themselves at the end of attacking is just silly. Ebon High, bad. Dark Flare Knight, love this card. Probably one of my favorite Dark Magician cards. It's like obscure. Love it. Hate that, not Red Eyes, but Flame Swordsman stole our retrain. Terrible. Terrible. Absolutely bad. Dark Sage, cool guy, terrible card. Dark Knight, Dark Magician Knight, love all these cards. Wish they all got retrains in our extra deck. Same with Sork, cool cards, anime moments, terrible cards for the actual game. Knight's title should be with him because, you know, he needs that. The Tome, the good old, this card has a lot of different names depending on where you're from. In the video games, this has like a massive name relating to DM and DMG. But in English, they just called it Secret Formula, Magic Formula, sorry. Magic Formula is bad. It was always bad, but it was good because of time rules, and you could get 1,000 life points by searching it with Rod, equipping it to a DM, and linking the DM off, or Magician Soul sending this for a draw while setting your back row. You get 1,000 life points and win in time, which I only ever did 1 or twice to people. But that was a thing you could do. You could win a game with this card. I think I had it in A tier in my last profile, maybe B or S. It was up there, let me say that, which is rare for a DM spell. Twin Burst, Absolutely terrible. Dark Burning. I don't like this card at all. It's Regeki, but you need DMG. I hate it. 1,000 Knives. This card should get retrained as a hand trap. Like 10,000 Knives or something. I don't know. It still kind of needs to be a spell. Curtain kind of got retrained as Magician Souls. So there's no reason for it to exist, and it's also terrible. Dark Magician of Chaos and his Envoy of Chaos spell. They're just bad. This is just the new version of that. So don't use these. Skilled Dark Magician. Just dated cards at this point, right? We're looking at cards that are like 20 years old. They're just not going to do anything. Robe, terrible. Terrible guy. Came out at the same time as Rod, which is crazy. This card also came out with that batch of support. The Illusion guy. Terrible. Terrible. Sage is Stone. Terrible. I think there's Black Illusion or something. Terrible. This guy can add a Buster Blade or a DM if you remove 3 spell counters or something. Terrible. Magician Defense. I don't even know why this is here. I guess DMG's in the art. Terrible. That's all the cards I had. So if I missed any, let me know in the comments. Long story short, yeah. That's the tier list. Dragoon is the best. D-Mod's cool, and this guy's also epic. But yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know down in the comments. Or in the stream right now. Yeah. Oh, wow, that was 2 hours. But we did it. Whew. That was a lot of talking. I'm going to take a break. You guys have some chats, though. Dark Magic Attack is not as bad with D-Mod since he can search it and use it. I suppose that is true. However, like, if my D-Mod's searching that, I'm probably a sad fella. I'm a sad fella. Why is Amulet an S tier? Well, I can't say. I'm not allowed to answer that, I'm sorry. Thank you for subbing. Does Future Silence count? Someone else, John Blue was saying Future Silence too. That is technically a good card. Probably C tier. I don't know. Probably around here. C or B. It's not bad. It's not bad. Preparation of Rites should probably be here too, but I mean, it's just a generic card, so I didn't put it in. Pardon me. But yeah, Preparation of Rites and Future Silence are good. They kind of suffer from that problem that, I mean, the whole deck does anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But they just suffer from that whole, like, they search a card that searches a card that searches a card. And it's just like, we already do that so much. Like, we have Prep that gets Illusion of Chaos. Illusion of Chaos gets Rod. Rod normals and gets a card. It's like, we're already doing that so much in DM. Rod can get Circle or Soul Servant that searches a card. It's like, oh my god. It's just like more cards that play in a draw, which by all means is not bad. Yeah, as you said, it's an extra copy of the girl. It's not bad. I think if you play Future Silence, you play 1. It was in my list. It was in my Shining Sock list. My dilemma was... I can't remember. I think space. I think I just needed the space. And I found I had too much of my Shining Sock engine all the time. And I actually was like, I'm happy to have less. It's weird, because in like 60 cards, or in any DM build really, that has multiple engines, you kind of want to open up a bit of every engine, and I just kept seeing too much Sock. Because I guess having 6 cards of it is pretty good. It doesn't sound bad to go to 7 though. I think you're right though to say like 1 copy of Future Silence is fine. I think the main reason I stopped playing 1 was deck space for hand traps and stuff, going second stuff. But yeah, it's still good. It would be the 7th card you would play. Oh, I guess technically this guy's the 7th Shining Sock card after these 2 and 3. So he'd be the 8th card, but obviously he does something unlike this. I think I just had a game where I opened Future Silence Sark Girl, and I just went, that's it. I'm taking Future Silence. I know that's really silly and niche, and I probably shouldn't worry about that one game, but yeah. Dodo says we need a spell that summons DM or DMG from deck or banishment to bridge the gap between Rod and Destruction. Yeah, I feel like that is very true. Or they should, like, we should just have a Link 1 that Rod can go into that does a similar job. Because it is very awkward that Rod doesn't have a Link 1 to use yet. Blue Eyes got their Link 1 and I'm like, Can we have one, please? We're using their one right now most of the time. Left 2010 says, Dark Magician Dragonite isn't that bad. Well, it's less that he's bad and more that he doesn't do anything. What does this do? What does this card do when you summon it, Left 2010? I'll tell you what it does. It has 3000 attack and it identifies as Dark Magician. That's it. Unfortunately, if Circle and Eternal Soul are not good anymore, this card, by extension, is not good anymore. And Circle and Eternal Soul were never quite that good to begin with, so... I was hoping they'd get better with the new support, but they've gotten worse. They've gotten worse. You either play in a draw or you bait Ash. Yeah, that is the dilemma meta. It's like, do you do your most important search first to play around draw, or do you do your worst search first to play around Ash? And 9 times out of 10, you just play into the wrong one. Do you already know when the new cards will be available? No, Ibo, we do not. But I will have a video on it soon as we know. We do not know right now. Japan has them. I've got a feeling even Master Duel could get them before us. But we'll see. We'll see. Shuwen says, DME is a way to recover from banishing. Yes. It's crazy to me to release Demod and Gaze in the same set. And they both have a banishing effect. And... like, I had a feeling Amulet would help us with that, or like the 4th card would help us with that. Nope. Nope. Neither of the cards we got help with banishing DM. Super weird. I understand we can play other decks, don't get me wrong, like Left, you're saying play Branded Engine. We shouldn't have to, right? Like, if your deck is banishing your cards as part of its stuff that it does, it should have a way to interact with it, or get them back, or, you know, or they do something when they're banished. Look at Malice for like 3 seconds. Look at Kashtira. Like, there's so many decks that can interact with their banish. Branded is another example that you've mentioned. How do we not have a card that interacts with our banish? Circle banishes a card on the opponent's field, but we ourselves don't have a way to interact with our banish, which is wild, considering how much we banish opponents' cards, or try to. It's just strange. Master Duel has a way with the Baron Dispater line with Magitus Chorizo as the tuner. So you Chorizo into... Chaos Max is in the TCG, Isaac, just not Master Duel. I have a copy in my binder right now. So Meta, are you saying that combo line recycles? But like also, that feels like you're doing weird stuff to do it. Like, there just should be an easy way to recycle an archetype, right? Like, Blue Eyes literally have a spell that just summons Blue Eyes from anywhere. Like, Banish, Field, Grave, like, deck. Not Field, what am I saying? Banished, Grave, deck, I'm pretty sure it is. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy they have a way to recycle their friend from Banished, and we do not. Soul Servant ad from Banished? Yeah. Yep. A couple of things that could have. They could have had Soul Servant ad from Banish. They could have had Illusion Magic ad from Banish. I mean, even like... what of the new stuff could have done that? I don't know how Amulet could have related to Banish. I don't know, but... I don't know. Maybe Amulet in Grave Effect could have been like... Put one of your banished spellcasters back. And reset it. I don't know. Even then, it would probably still not be that great, but... Interesting. I don't know, there's a lot of potential still in DM. Still a lot of potential in the cards. It's just sad they haven't found an avenue to take us down that's like really locked in. We're kind of like the Mario of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we do like a little bit of everything, but we don't excel at anything really. I'm talking in like Smash Bros terms now. But Mario's actually really good in Smash Bros, so that doesn't really work. He used to be terrible though, which was why that argument was so good. And he was like, you know, the guy who's average at everything. But now he's kind of good. Because Smash Bros. Sucks. Soul Servant should have been able to add from Banish, Soul Servant, Eternal Soul stuff. Yeah. I was hoping for a new Circle and a new Eternal Soul. And maybe people think that's crazy. Mario was bad in Melee as well, but yeah. Maybe that's crazy to say, but a new Circle and a new Eternal Soul would have been sick. And I will not shy away from saying they could do it, because like Gaze is obviously Eye of Timaeus remade. Amulet Dragon, as we spoke about, Dark Magician Dragonite, MagiDragon are obviously remakes of some degree. Like, they can do it. And, like, D-Mod. D-Mod is literally the current interpretation of Dark Magician of Destruction. Of Dark Magician of Chaos. Dark Magician Black Chaos. Magician of Chaos. And all those guys, right? There's currently the fusion of them, if you will. So, they do like to do their remakes and such. So, it's definitely viable in the future that we get a remake of some of these old fan favorite cards, or LOZA favorite cards. The Sage, the Knight, the Sorcerer, Dark Flare Knight, even though he kind of already got one. They could still get a potential remake, which makes me happy. Could even get new Palladiums, one thing I've discussed before. Palladiums, we've only got the 2, but Soul Servant mentions Palladiums as an archetype almost, so more Palladiums could definitely come, because that's just another archetype they're trying to shove into our archetype. We've got, like, DM, we've got DMG, which are already bricky. Then they're like, hey, play Mahad and Mana, play some more bricks. And then, of course, the Palladiums don't synergize with, like, a single card in our deck outside of Soul Servant. Because, like, why would they? Why would these bricks we're meant to play have any synergy with any of the other cards? Like, you can't even use them for secrets outside of them being the other material. Like, they're not one of the named materials for secrets. It's very awkward. But hey, welcome to DM and the, like, 14 different avenues the creators have tried to take the deck down. I would say it's due to the insane amount of creators making this deck. I think there's been different chefs every time cooking. Different cooking. There's no Miasma here because I'm pretty sure we kept it to DM cards. I know there's a couple of exceptions down here. There's some strange cards that aren't quite DM cards, but I'll tell you a secret, they were already on the tier list, so I just didn't take them off. Yeah, the only things I added were the new cards, really. The new DM and the Shining Sark cards. But yeah, you'd put Gaze on S and Amulet Trap on A. Well, Karap, if you've watched the whole video, you'd know my true thoughts on some of the things you just said. But hey, you'll find out soon. You had to make custom DM cards after seeing MagiDragon. Well, I gotta say, MagiDragon I was disappointed with. I was a MagiDragon doomer, but the more I tested with the card, the more I grew to like it and went, oh, this is actually not that bad. You know, it's not as bad. Like, I thought it was on the level of my friend down here, sitting in the dumps. Amulet Dragon and friends. But no, he's actually quite good and has some matchups where he's quite awesome. Game winning even, you could say. So that's cool. Primite Fusion's a good one or two of conflicts with Gaze, but no, it's good with Gaze because I see what you're saying, like, about shuffling, but Primite Fusion's good because it can use the Banish Zone, so that is good. There's a couple of engines we can use to interact with our Banish. I just wish we could do it in the archetype, because we probably should. If we get a structure deck, the whole deck could be fixed. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That could be cool. But I do think the deck's, like, I'll say this, the deck's in the best spot it's ever been, thanks to Gaze and D-Mod, and that's awesome. That's fantastic. Could we still have more? Absolutely. Absolutely. But we probably won't be getting something for another 3 or 4 or 5 years. And right now, I'm very happy. I just want the damn cards. Like, TCG Konami, release the cards, please. Please. Vinox says, funny that modern DM design's based on some random non-canon anime arc instead of the canon Egypt arc. That is a really good point. It's crazy how much of Timaeus is part of the game plan, and he's from the non-canon arc. That is very true. Like, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a lot of Timaeus cards, right? Compared to the other dragons too, Critias and Hermos, they have, like, their one eye of card or fang of card or whatever. I don't think they have many other cards besides their fusions, really. It's kind of funny. The DM's the only archetype that's heavily leaned into the Waking the Dragons arc stuff for some reason. It's really random. Do we manage to crack the weird ritual DM deck? Not really, but we can make off just one Dark Magician girl and a discard of the Shining Sark girl, I should say. You can get to this guy, which is fantastic. You can also just get to this guy, so, like, both is good. It's pretty cool. Dark Magician in the canon doesn't have much support. If we're looking at Yugi's deck, DM would be Shining Sark. That's true, but it would be more like Celtic Guardian, Beaver Warrior, not Guilford the Lightning. What am I trying to say? That weird dragon. Archfiend of Guilford, that one. Yeah, it'd just be Yami Yugi with a bunch of random guys, like the Magna Warriors, and Yami with all his feral imps and stuff, chilling. I get that, like, DM, you know, canon-wise, only really has DM and DMG, and that's fine. And I guess Mana and Mahad in the Egypt arc. But, like, why aren't they leaning further into, like, Palladium stuff? Like, a Link one that's a Palladium would be a no-brainer for Rod. Rod turning into a Palladium Link one is like, damn. You just fixed the deck, Konami. Like, good job. Silvari Kalko's arc was good. I love that arc. I know it's not canon. Love that arc. Beaver Warrior DM Fusion would be really funny. I would like that too, Keck. Wish you had a way to make Magia. Yeah, it's interesting. You think this would have made making Magia easier? I don't know if it does too much. Magia is pretty cool. Is Chaos Max finally playable? Yeah, kind of. Thanks to this chick right here. Shining Sock DMG makes Chaos Max kind of good. Joey has Red Eyes Gearfried and Red Eyes Baby Dragon. Why don't we have Dark Magic Celtic Guardian? True. Next wave of support, we get Dark Magic Celtic Guardian, Dark Magic Beaver Warrior. Who else? We got Kuriboh. Kuriboh got Dark Magicianified, so, like, I'm not going to say it's not possible. Like, it could happen, man. Could happen, bros. Hold out for it. Yeah, there's Red Eyes Metal Morph as well. Yeah, that's a good point. You hate that the Orichalcos arc's the one that leans on Yami. It'd be interesting if it was Yugi that was left to deal with the mess. Yeah, I can understand that. I like it, though. I like that it was an arc where Yami lost and had to get Yugi back. And I don't know. I like it. I really liked it. Link 1 Time Wizard to get Darkseid. Yo, that is an awesome idea. Oh, Link 1 Time Wizard. Now, that would help tie back in my friend Darksage. How would we tie back in the Knight? The Knight's in an awkward spot. So how would we tie a Knight back into the deck? It would have to be like a Link 1 that you use DM as the whole requirement. And he just was like a warrior that identified as also a spellcaster and DM in name. And I don't know, he'd have to have some effect. Otherwise, like, why would we summon him? But yeah. He definitely need to be in the extra deck. He's not going in the main, let me tell you that. Same with Sorcerer. If Sorcerer wants to be retrained, you getting in the extra deck as like a Link 3 or something. Maybe a Link 2. No, I think he's got to be like a Link 3 with his effect. I don't know. These guys are great candidates for reimaginings, though, like remakes. What do they call it? There's a name for it. Like when Celtic Guardian became an obnoxious Celtic Guardian. Is it Retrain? Yeah, it's just Retrain. Retrain is the name. I think one of the earliest cards was Retrain something, and that's why. I forget. Or maybe it's from Magic or some other game. But yeah. Also print good DM support so Spiral can steal it again. True. Spiral will come and grab whatever we need from souls and whatnot. Our Lord has joined and asked why Amulet is in S. Mate, you have to watch the stream, I guess. Darksage, Sorcerer, Knight, as well as Demoth, which is correctly retrained, should be extra deck monsters. Yeah, look, they've done a brilliant job with Dark Magician of Destruction being the Demoth retrain. It's really solid. It's really solid. I know Illusion of Chaos and even Magician of Chaos are like kind of halfway points. They're like almost Dark Magician taking on his clothing or the color schemes. It's weird. It's like the Ritual DM cards are like almost Demox. Kind of. They're like halfway through. Halfway to Demox. They're like an in-between. But then this one feels like, yeah, it's the new Demox. And he looks sick as hell. So that's cool. It's just funny that Demox can't search the Demox spell that's really good that banishes face down. That would have been kind of gnarly as a play instead of Gaze, or like open Gaze and open this. Like, that would be really cool. I would like that, but oh well. Yeah, him being level 8 is strange, but I guess without overlaying the level 8 does, like without Synchros or Xyz, the level 8 doesn't really matter, does it? Like, not too many of our cards care about 7s. Like, stuff like Navi is like only a 6 or lower, but like, or 7 or lower. No, sorry, Navi's a 7 or lower. But like, yeah, it's whatever. I think putting this in the extra deck, demod in the extra deck was the best choice by far. And that should be how a lot of the retrains go from here on out. Slap them in the extra deck. They had no right being in the main. Fixes a lot of our issues, right? This guy doesn't need to exist anymore, so that's cool. Palladiums, put one in the extra deck. That would be huge for the deck. But yeah. Was the rank 7 ever a real Dark Magician card? I guess not officially, but the artwork certainly tells me it was. And the effect certainly tells me Ebon Illusion was meant to be a DM card. Even though it's not. You're running Neos, Magician of Chaos. What? You got the King of Games on Duel Links with Magician of Chaos with Neos. That's crazy. That is wild. Though my Duel Links King of Games have all been with the most cancerous decks, or Dark Magician. Invoked Royd Stall Burn was one of my decks. And man, did no one like it. Except me and my bestie. We just played the ladder with it because we didn't care and we just wanted to win. No one else liked that. Fair enough. Neos Fusion was out? Well, it makes sense. That card was insane. Maybe make a Dark Magician retrain like how we have Blue Eyes Alternative. Well, that's the thing. Blue Eyes Alternative fell off hard, so I'm kind of like, I'm fine if that doesn't happen. And I also think this was meant to be that. This Shadow guy, the Illusion guy here, I'm pretty sure he was meant to be our version of Alternative. And he kind of sucks, so in my head, we kind of already got it. But I wouldn't be opposed to another DM retrain. But once again, we kind of got it again with the Shining Sark one. But yeah. Oh well. DM too strong for a 3-of. DM too goated. DM won't design more Palladiums, only Malice can +3 on their turn. True. DM too strong for a +3. Like, if any deck was getting a draw 3 or a draw 4, it should be our deck, man. Like, I can't think of a more deserving deck. Sky Striker out here going, like, plus so hard. And I'm like, can I please have a crumb of going plus? Also, Sky Striker spells are insane. Why are our spells not on the level of Engage or something? Like, we are Spellcaster, man. Give us a good spell, please, Konami. Please. Anyway, I think I need to end the stream because I just spent 2 hours and a bit doing this. And I'm going to need to edit this now for the video, so that's rough. But, thanks, everyone. Dozen Knives and Dark Magic attacks retrain? Yep, I could see that, Isaac. I could see that. Retrains of those cards would be cool. I don't know how, I don't know when, but it'd be cool. I would love to see Thousand Knives be a spell that is a hand trap. I know that sounds silly, but like, it's kind of what we need, or at least it has to be quick play. Like I don't know. I don't know what they could do, but they need to work something out, and they need to work it out fast. For these cards at least, like for the retrains of some older stuff. They'll definitely do it, because they clearly like to retrain stuff. But yeah, Dark Magician Mobilize Engage, let's go. Knives as quick play Regeki. Yeah. I guess the Knives wouldn't be the Regeki though, wouldn't the Dark Magic attack? Oh no, it hits the back row, I'm silly. I don't know if they do like quick play Regeki, but I would be down if Knives was like quick play negate and destroy. I know the Knives don't really have anything to do with negating, but maybe make the Knives magic? I don't know. Make them negate and destroy. Think like Spellbinding Circle mixed with Knives. Spellbinding 10,000 Knives. I don't know. I guess Amulet was kind of the remake of Spellbinding Circle. That's the vibe I got from it. But man, they missed the mark there, so... oh well. I mean, Amulet's great. That's why it's in S tier, guys. I swear. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Thanks, everyone. I will be uploading this as a video too, so make sure you check it out to see your epic comments in that video. And don't forget to like, comment, sub on this video and the one that eventually comes out. You guys are goated. I'll catch you later. I need to drink a lot of water and stop talking now. Bye. Big love.